Welcome to Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com, coming to you live from Charlie Acosta Field here at Eastside Catholic Stadium in Sammamish, Washington. I'm Alex Webster with Scott Eklund on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Tonight's matchup features the 1-0 Centaurs of Centennial Secondary from Coquitlam, British Columbia, taking on the home Crusaders of Eastside Catholic. The Crusaders 2-0 on the season, and this should be an interesting international affair as a couple of teams coming from two different spectrums. The Crusaders, a long-time established program here, now under their second year under head coach Jeremy Thielbar, taking on a team that's traveling about 22 active players from about 147 miles away, rolling into town to try and take on the Crusaders, a team that has some championship aspirations.
Yeah, they did not get here, actually, the visitors did not get here until about 45 minutes before kickoff, so they got apparently hung up at the Blaine border crossing. But, you know, Eastside Catholic, when I walked down on the field and talked to some people down there, they were a little worried that they wouldn't come out completely mentally ready for this game because of how small it was, and this is something that they're really kind of worried about.
Well, you get the onside kick right away, and one of the up men deciding to shuffle it back. This is Peter Kimball on the return, and he'll get brought down near midfield. And you'll notice the blue hankies from the officials here today as quickly we have a flag on the opening kickoff, and those are to create awareness for prostate cancer during Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. The Washington Officials Association joining with the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center to use blue flags to bring attention all throughout the week. So the flag here on the kickoff, and as we'll notice, a little bit of a struggle perhaps sometimes on the special teams from the Centaurs with really limited players available. So special teams might be the place where they take a real hit.
Yeah, definitely, and their best player, Nathan Lund, is listed as the kicker and punter, and I think he's the water boy. And
did he drive the bus down?
I was just going to say.
He might have been the guy with the passports, too.
Yeah, I mean, they're a small squad, but as you can see, number 77, they've got a little bit of size out there, too. And there's actually a couple players, Nathan Lund and J.P. Callambay. They're both being recruited by D1 and D1 AA schools. So they have a couple of players. I don't know if they're going to have enough to match up with Eastlake's team.
Eastside Catholic will take over on offense to start out here on the opening drive after being penalized on the kickoff. And the starter at quarterback, Carly Hirsch, a freshman. And you'll see him run here, breaking through. He's got some running room, finally dragged down. Hirsch just picking up where he left off after defeating nearby Eastlake High School last week. He threw for 2 touchdowns and 162 yards, ran for 98 yards. You saw the speed there, and another score in the Crusaders' victory over their neighbor Eastlake, which is less than a mile from here.
We can actually see the lights right through the trees over there.
And we could hear the crowd here during the national anthem earlier, and more to talk about on the doings of football here on the plateau in a little bit. But here's the second play from scrimmage from the Crusaders. And again, it will be Kirsch hanging on to it, looking to work around left end. Kirsch getting the start last week in a surprise after their veteran quarterback, Trey Reynolds, was injured. He couldn't go last week, and so they came to him right before the game, Carly Hirsch that is, and said, you're starting, and you're going to take on our rival Eastlake just down the road, and you're going to take us to victory. And they had every faith that he would, and he did in a big 30-12 win.
Yeah, and the nice thing about Harley Kirsch is he's just emerging as a thrower. He's more of an athlete, but he's worked all summer with different quarterback coaches and really done well, much better.
He rolls out in the southpaw, throwing with 4 receivers in the set, complete for the touchdown. And for the Crusaders, I believe Justin Musser, 6'3", 205-pound wide receiver, I believe, coming away with that one. The score on just the third play on a short drive for the Crusaders. And they're on the board here with just 10:45 remaining in the first quarter.
Yeah, a nice pass rolled out to his right. You don't see a lot of lefties be able to roll out to the right, turn their body completely like Kirsch did, but he did that and found his wide open man in the end zone.
Jacob Gay with the try for point, and this one is up, and it is good. And so it didn't take long for the Crusaders to take advantage of the real home field advantage that they have today here at Charlie Acosta Field as they get on the board on a nice drive engineered by the youngster quarterback Harley Kirsch, who is filling some pretty decent shoes of Trey Reynolds, and they're hoping that Reynolds will be back for next week when the Crusaders open up the league portion of their schedule against Bainbridge Island.
When I talked to Coach Thielbar during the summer, he was really excited about what Harley Kirsch could bring to the offense, and he said it was going to be a battle between himself and Trey Reynolds and the other quarterback who's going to be out there today, and that is Zane. No, I'm sorry. I had it written down, and I don't have it with me anymore. But, Trey Reynolds ended up winning the quarterback battle, but he really wants to plug Kirsch in during the season at different times, and now he's getting to start his second game of the season, so he's getting a lot of experience because when Trey Reynolds leaves, this is kind of Harley Kirsch's team. Blake
Maymone is, I believe, the quarterback, the third one
it.
out there. Yeah, well, it's hard to keep track of everybody out here, especially on a beautiful night on the Sammamish Plateau. Temperatures about 70 degrees or 72 degrees at kickoff with a slight wind. In fact, the PA announcer here mentioning the temperature up in BC in Coquitlam, where it was just a few degrees cooler at 70, but it's a beautiful night here in September, and high school football from two nations being represented here. And in fact, the Centaurs, who will take over here after this kickoff coming from Eastside Catholic, will be a team that's actually fairly well thought of up in British Columbia. And we'll tell you about that here in a second as Nathan Lund, one of those top players for the Centaurs, battling with it here. And you can see tough to bring down. He's carrying everybody with him, still going past the 35. And you can see why the Vikings of Portland State are interested in that young man.
Yeah, they're very excited about him. And he's a player who had quite a few yards last week in their one win. And he looks like an athlete when you walk out there. He's one of the few guys on their team who looks like he could play some college football.
Centennial, a big win in their opener against Belenas, the Whalers, last Saturday. 52-14. Nathan Lund, 4 touchdowns, over 400 yards on the ground. Also in play, the defense was able to hold the Whalers to just 3 completions on 11 yards, but already you can see the talent of Eastside Catholic has already established itself with an opening drive score. So here is Centennial, the Centaurs, and you can see Lund in motion. The give is to him from the quarterback, Nick Okamoto, and just minimal gain on that first drive. In fact, it might be a slight loss.
Picking up just the middle right there, Dion Fatui. He's a big sophomore. He's 6 foot, 305 pounds. He's got the long hair right in there in the middle, number 77, and really stuffed the line, didn't allow anybody to move him. And he's going up against the biggest player on Centennial's team, JT Naso, who's 350 pounds. So that should be a battle tonight.
Nick Okamoto, the quarterback, also a weapon who had some success last week, and the Hankies fly here. It'll be interesting to see how the penalties factor into this one, as this one will go against the Centaurs. And that'll back them up a few. And it will still be second down. The Centaurs last week taking advantage of turnovers and an onside kick. They recovered 2 fumbles, and that helped them out. But Nick Okamoto, we talked about, he threw a touchdown pass last week to J.P. Calambe and also ran for another one. So you got to keep an eye on him out there as well.
As you see, they have a pretty tight set. They run kind of a wing tee, but they throw the ball a little more than most wing tee teams do.
There's Lund. They'll pitch it to him as they try to get around that packed-together set. And you can see he's got some speed as he pushes for the first down. A big 15 to 16-yard gain after that penalty. Gosh, you'll love to be able to see a guy on the ground pick up the first down. What an effort.
Yeah, and really shows very good quickness and good vision. Makes easy cuts and got the first down off of first and 15. Or second and 15. That was pretty good.
So 1st and 10 here for Centennial. The Centaurs playing in the Eastern Conference of the 3A classification up in BC. That's actually the highest classification that they have up there. They're considered in the honorable mention category by the province's newspaper up there in the AAA category. Here's the run from Okamoto, and he gets maybe a yard on the carry as he has to scramble away from some defenders.
Peter Kimball pursues from the other side. He came over from the cornerback spot, pursued all the way down the line, and got Okamoto for only a 1-yard gain. Great pursuit by Kimball on that play.
Yeah, so the Centaurs in the honorable mention category up there in British Columbia. Eastside Catholic here in the States ranked 5th in the 3A classification, which of course is the second highest classification in the league. They're behind, or rather in the rankings behind, of course, Bellevue, O'Day, Mount Si, and Lakes, but it's O'Day that's the big rival here.
Yeah, it is O'Day who's the big rival, as well as Seattle Prep, who's actually just playing right down the road at Eastlake tonight.
We can see the lights through the trees over there at Eastlake, where Gene Dale's longtime coach there announcing a sudden retirement on Monday, and it's actually Pat Parnell, the head coach over at Eastlake, just down the road. But here's Lund again on the carry, and you see the Eastside Catholic now kind of ramping up a little bit on defense. They thought that this one might be a little bit of a cakewalk, but they've now recognized there's some D1 talent out there.
There is, and Lund has really shown some nice cutting ability. Let's see how he continues to go throughout the game. Some of these running backs that they really like are guys who get better as the game goes along. As they get more hits, they get more hits on the defense. They wear that defense out. We'll see what he's able to do here, because it's 3rd and about 7.
3rd and a good chunk of real estate to go. Will they go to the air for the first time? We have yet to see that thus far. Receivers split wide to both sides. That's Lund, the man in motion again. Little counter play here. On the carry is Justin Buren. He's listed as a running back, also as a quarterback on the roster. He gets no gain to maybe a partial loss, but Buren added 4 two-point conversions and tossed a pass last week to Brian Whitted in their win over the Whalers on Saturday. But nothing doing here. The Centaurs will have 4th in a bundle.
Cody Baker caught off the pile last on that, so I'm going to give him the tackle on that. But, that was just good pursuit by Eastside Catholic. They're really going to key on Lund because of what he's shown so far in this game, just in the early carries that he's gotten. So they're really going to key on him. That's why they probably went to number 15, Justin Buren.
Luke Latanzio that deep, but this punt from Lund is not going to get very far. In fact, it's touched around the 30-yard line by one of the Centaurs. So, again, we talked about special teams, and that may be one of the struggles for the Centaurs, just because not having the depth. They suited up about 25 guys here. I think we saw about 22 guys with hats on over there. Yeah. Helmets, that is.
Yeah, you're going to hear us calling the same names most of the night. I mean, it's for them, it's pretty scarce over there on the sideline, but, that's what you have to do in some of these smaller schools.
They blitz a couple of guys, but the running back for Eastside Catholic able to plunge in there. And Blake Maimone, I believe, on the carry. Actually, it was Henry Jarvis, 5'10", 215-pound junior on the carry for minimal gain. But we do have a penalty against the Centaurs. Face mask, the call, so that'll be a first down.
And that's just something you can't have if you're Centennial, getting a face mask play when you actually hold them to minimal gain and you lose 15 yards because you can't keep your hands off a face mask.
The Crusaders going down in about 4 plays on the opening drive for the score when Kirsch found Musler in the right part of the end zone. We'll see how they do in their second series. Here's Kirsch. Nice ball from the southpaw into Centaur territory with the completion.
Colin Boyd gets the completion and reception, and that results in a first down, as you just heard the announcer say. And what he ran right there was what they call a comeback route. So he ran 10 yards and came back to about 7, and that's why it was about a 7-yard gain.
Kirsch with a running back behind him, 3 receivers in the set. He'll look long and deep, and it's in and out of the hands on the far side of the field. He had a man open, but just could not connect. I think it was Justin Musser once again. And you talked about him rolling right and having a good rollout. That one was pretty close.
Yeah, and that was actually a very nicely thrown ball. Looked like Musser just ended up dropping that.
3 receivers in the set here as Hirsch will work with Latanzio behind him. Here's the give. Nope, it's Kirsch on the keeper, and he'll rumble ahead for about 8-9 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and short. Kirsch doing it with his legs in that opening series, had a couple of runs, and then finished it off with the pass.
And they really like to go with the pistol offense here. I hadn't seen them do that because last year they ran more out of the spread. But they're running out of the pistol offense tonight, and they don't have one of their best playmakers, Markel Sanders.
The give on the inside, spinning a couple of times and finally getting drugged down near the 30 after picking up the first down. Goes the running back for Eastside Catholic. That's Henry Jarvis. And another Crusader first down. We talked about how Trey Reynolds is absent from the lineup. He was gone last week and hopes to be back against Bainbridge. Markel Sanders, who's headed to WSU next year, is sitting this one out. He's just nicked up a little bit, and they want to kind of get him a little rest before heading into league play next week.
Yeah, and Markel can do everything out on the football field. He's a great-looking athlete, really solid, really strong, someone that they use a lot.
Hirsch complete for another first down, as they love to roll him out to the right, it looks like.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out if they're doing that just because of the position of the ball or because he actually throws better that way. I don't know. Maybe they want to figure out what he can do good. This is kind of like I know they're not treating it this way. They want to win this game, but this is kind of like one of those preseason games in the NFL where you get out and you try and do some things that maybe you wouldn't do in maybe a league game because you don't know.
Hayden Meyer with the reception, a senior, getting that grab a moment ago. Kirsch, a little fake. He keeps it. He's unmarked, and he's got some running room to the goal line, and he's in. Harley Kirsch with the score. And the Crusaders now up by a couple of touchdowns, although the officials talking back at the line of scrimmage, and this one may be coming back. Maybe there's a reason he was running free, and that is the hold on the Crusaders. So cross that touchdown off, and we'll make it a little more challenging for Eastside Catholic.
Looks like it's probably going to be right at second and just a little over 10, or first and just a little over 10, because it was so far down the field. It's a spot foul.
It's as close as you get to kind of a do-over. It'll be an 11-yard, 1st and 11 to go. Hirsch with Jarvis behind him, and we've got a whistle as Centennial wants to take a timeout. So our first timeout comes with 5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Eastside Catholic leading Centennial 7-0, and a great opportunity to ask you if you want to watch more of your school's great matchups, like the game you're enjoying here tonight. Tell your school to sign up for the Play on Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP. That's playonsports.com/SBP. Glad you could join us here from Charlie Acosta Field atop the Sammamish Plateau. Eastside Catholic, this new facility, and I say new in a relative sense, it has been here. This is their 5th year at this new school. They've been in Bellevue for a long period of time, but they finally were able to create just this fantastic facility. In fact, there was a soccer game out on the field before they turned this back around and set it up for the football game tonight. But they are pleased to be here and enjoying things under their second-year head coach, Jeremy Thielbar, who took over from Jason Gesser. There was a Washington State University connection there. And then prior to that, Bill Marsh, who had a pretty good run here as well.
Yeah, Jason Gesser goes over to Idaho to become a quarterback's coach, offensive coordinator over there. And Coach Thielbar comes over from being an offensive assistant in Idaho to be the head coach here at Eastside Catholic.
Yeah, so a very big Cougar connection and a U of I connection. So there's a lot of that Palouse interplay, as, of course, when Jeremy Thielbar came over, he brought with him several staff members from that Idaho squad. Here's Jarvis with the run on the inside, and he's running hard in there. It's taken a whole host of guys to bring him down. Jarvis with a great carry on 1st and 11. He'll get it close to the sticks, but they'll be a little short.
And put his hand down on the ground to keep his balance and just keep those legs churning. That's why he was able to get 9 yards. That's something that for any of the young kids watching the game right now, always keep those legs churning. If you do that, you're going to get those extra yards and keep the ball moving.
Head coach Jeremy Thielbar with offensive coordinator Aaron DeColobus and Rob Christoph, the defensive coordinator and linebacker coach. He's one of those imports from Idaho. University of Idaho. Offside's the call here on the Centaurs. And so that should give the first down and make it 1st and goal. So again, we talk about the Centaurs not needing to keep the mistakes to a minimum, and that has been a challenge a little bit here already with a face mask and an offsides. So here's Kirsch from the 4-yard line, ready to put the pistol offense in motion. He does here. Drop down as he goes to Jarvis in the flat. And the Centaurs, with good pursuit, able to bring him down after minimal gain.
That was well set up, too. He actually just made a mistake. He ran right into the one guy who could make the tackle on that play because you had only 2 Centaur defenders and about 5 or 6 Eastside Catholic players out there that blocked for him, and it just happened to be the one guy who got through. So good play by the safety over there.
In fact, it's a loss of 4. No gain on that one, certainly. So it's now going to be 2nd and goal from the 8-yard line. Trips to the right and a single receiver on the left, but they'll go to the ground, and this time they go to their speed guy, Addison Hull, with the carry, getting inside the 5-yard line. And this one will be marked somewhere about the 3, it looks like.
And that looked like he might actually have some open room to run outside there, but they had good contain on that side, allowing the middle linebacker to come over and scrape and to make the play for only a minimal gain.
Hull, a 5'8", 160-pound sophomore here at Eastside Catholic. Jarvis back in there as the single setback. They give it to him, and he walks in untouched for the score. Touchdown, Crusaders. 3:04 left to go, opening quarter, and it's 13-0 with the try for point coming here in just a moment.
And that was pretty much opened up right on the right side over there by the Eastside Catholic Crusaders, and he was just able to run right through and get the easy score without being touched.
So the Crusaders looking to go up by 14 here. And it is Jacob Gay with the try. They go for a fake on the 2, and they've got it open. Wow, Kirsch completing that one in the flat to Zane Allen, a senior, on the grab, and the 2-point conversion is complete. And I'm not sure if that one was called all the way or not.
Yeah, because sometimes what they'll do on those is, hey, we'll take the free points if they're going to give it to us. But you go out there with the intention of kicking the extra point. But if they show you something defensively that allows you to get that 2-point conversion, you switch to it, and they can just audible to that.
So 15-0, and the Centaurs got to be wondering, hey, take it easy on us here a little bit. You're already up a couple of scores, but you're right. That's probably an automatic call. They see the set the way that they want to see it, and it's just an automatic.
It is, yeah. And you know, this is not about them running up the score or doing anything like that. What they're going to do, besides it's only 15-0 at this point, but what they're going to do is they're going to try out some things tonight. Eastside Catholic, if you just look at it on paper, and that's why they don't play the games on paper, obviously, but if you look at it on paper, Eastside Catholic, this should be an easy game for them. So what they're going to do is they're going to play their game, they're going to do what they need to do, run their offense, run their defense, but they're also going to try and do some things that they don't normally do just to kind of practice it against an opponent that isn't themselves.
Yep. And Eastside here with a little jumbled set before they line everything up, and it looks like here they come into the kickoff. And this one angling towards the sideline, and looks like it will go out of bounds and be a penalty here. And we've seen already a lot of those blue hankies out here helping to create awareness for prostate cancer. And the officials with those blue flags at every game throughout the weekend.
Now, are they going to have the breast cancer awareness too? Is that in October then?
I didn't get the memo.
Yeah,
but I did see out and about today a lot of folks with 3-day. In the pink walking about. But, of course, you know, we want to provide our public service announcement as well, too, in support of all research for illness that we hope to eradicate. And we do feel for those that are sustaining those particular illnesses and, of course, their family members as well. But they're creating the awareness for prostate cancer here today. So here come the Centaurs looking to try and get on the scoreboard. 3:01 to go, opening quarter. Alex Webster along with Scott Eklund here on the PlayOnSports.com Friday night football from the Sammamish Plateau. Here is a little bit of razzle-dazzle as they look for a man deep on the throw, Justin Buren. We talked about him completing a touchdown pass last week, and you could see he's got a little bit of an arm.
He does, and if he had thrown it over the right shoulder, Lund had actually gotten behind the defense. That could have been a touchdown, but unfortunately they weren't able to connect. And you saw some of the Eastside Catholic guys kind of talking to each other, hey, what happened on that play? Because that's their best player. He shouldn't be getting behind them.
Yeah. They were able to complete that particular play for a score to Brian Whittet last week. I want to say last week, but it was 6 days ago. And when they played their opener against the Whalers of Balenas up in Parksville in British Columbia. A little bit of a rivalry matchup up that way. Now under center, Okamoto, maybe taking too much time. We'll see. Might have taken them a while to get back into the huddle after that long piece of a trick play, and it is a delay.
Yeah, and this is, once again, we've talked about it a couple times already. The Centaurs cannot afford to make mistakes like that and take yardage away from themselves, because automatically they're already at a size, speed, and athleticism disadvantage. You can't give up yards that way either.
Last time they faced a 2nd and 15 or a 1st and 15, they just handed it off to Lund, and he was able to pick it up. We'll see what they do here. They will roll out Okamoto this time, and he's looking for some help, and he can't get any. Eastside Catholic all over him and bringing him down for the sack.
That looked like Devin Arbus Jackson bringing him down there. Good-looking freshman. 5'11", 182. And got in on the side, didn't take, he tried to give him a head fake or a little pump fake, and he didn't fall for it and just got the sack.
3rd and 25. It'll be a tall order for the Centaurs, who already had to hustle their way down through the border and such. We were checking before. It was 147 miles to get here, and on our GPS device, it was saying it took about 3 hours and 28 minutes, but that's in Friday night traffic. You have no idea, but that's a long road trip to make it down here to take on a good team in Eastside Catholic. Here's the 3rd and very long play. They hand it off to Lund, and he's dragging guys with him. He'll get some of it back, but not nearly enough.
Yeah, still got 7-8 yards on that, but like you said, not nearly enough. Eastside Catholic was more than happy to let him have that. They'll get the ball back here with about 1 minute and 15 seconds left here in the first quarter and see what they can do.
Back deep for Eastside Catholic. That's going to be Luke Ladanzio.
And you can see Nathan Lund.
He's scooching up a little bit. Or Lund is back there to punt, yeah.
He's going to fill a lot of roles for this team.
Latanzio, the deep man, and this one's going to be over the head of Lund. He'll pick it up, and he'll still have time to get rid of it. This one a much better punt than last time. Latanzio trying to track it down, grabs it off the one big hop, and gets into Centaur territory. So it did not start out very well, but it was much better than the previous punt they had.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes those are the plays that where you just shake your head and go, earlier he didn't have any pressure and couldn't get off a good punt. That time he did have pressure, and he did get off a great punt. So,
you know, sometimes when that pressure is relieved by, hey, it's not going to be my fault when I don't get a good punt off of.
Yeah.
You know, some of that pressure is gone, and you can get rid of one. But obviously when you mentioned Portland State among the schools that are looking at this young man, as they've had an increase of players from the British Columbia area start to migrate down into the U.S., into the colleges. It's a growth of American football up there in the BC area. More on that here after this play. Jarvis on the carry around right end, picks up about 5-6 yards on the carry. In fact, the head coach of Centennial, Rick Pichet, was mentioning that they have a lot of AA teams up there, not a lot of AAA teams. So you'll see a team like Centennial play down to the AA level there. They're really hoping that those AA teams will grow a bit more and really create a competitive level at that AAA level, ones where you've got guys being recruited by D1 schools down here.
Yeah, it's hard to get things going up there, but once you do, things start moving, guys start seeing success, and that's when you start to see some impressive stuff.
On the carry, this is Blake Maimone. As Harley Kirsch, I believe his day may be done. As we talked about, Blake Maimone looking to get a look here, a sophomore quarterback. He's 6'8", 225. You don't really think too much about 6'8" in a quarterback, and especially on the run.
Saw him in a camp this summer, and he looked pretty good. The unfortunate thing is he's got two very good quarterbacks ahead of him, so this is his chance to actually get out, get some work, and see what he can do.
So Kirsch has led a couple of scoring drives, and Maimone will get a look here. The rollout to the right, familiar. This time the right-handed throw. Got a receiver down there, deflected. Good defense by the Centaurs on that one, staying right with the receiver. Alex Redding, the defender, 6'1", 160 pounds cornerback, just a sophomore for the Centaurs.
Yeah, actually stayed right with his man. Had him right on his hip, exactly like you coach it, and was able to get his hand up there and knock the ball away.
Check that. Isaiah Stewart on the coverage down there. 5'11", 165-pounder defensive back. As a lot of these guys going both ways for the Centaurs. 2nd down and 10. We've got just 17 seconds left to go in the opening quarter here. 15-0 Eastside Catholic. Big carry up the middle. And that'll likely be the last play of the quarter, barring anything odd. Down to 5 seconds remaining. The carry by Dom Fatui. Big load is Fatui. 235 pounds wrapped up in a 5'10 frame. He's just a sophomore. And he and the offense for Eastside Catholic will be back at it when we start the second quarter in just a moment. Eastside Catholic at home, the first of 4 consecutive home games for the Crusaders. And they're in control early against BC's pride out of Coquitlam, the Centaurs of Centennial Secondary. PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from across the country. PlayOnSports.com, high school sports lives here. So we'll swap ends, and we talked a little bit about the doings up here on the plateau. Of course, Eastside Catholic defeating their neighbor, Eastlake, and we can see the lights right through the trees over here. But Eastlake, a real tough week. They take the loss to Eastside Catholic to fall to 0-2, and then Gene Dales, the longtime head coach, having to step down an early retirement because of some illness in his family, and Pat Parnell taking over, a youngish defensive coordinator that steps up and has the interim role over there, and they take on a tough team over there.
Yeah, and Seattle Prep is a very good squad. They're loaded with guys that are being recruited by D1 schools. Terry Calloway is their number 1 guy. He's a big-time recruit, already has offers from about 10 to 15 schools. So that they've got a tough road to hoe, and they also are going to have to play, make it through the Kinko 4A, which is one of the best conferences in the state.
Of course, the Eastside Catholic Crusaders have their own Metro action coming up next week. Here on the carry, this is Maimone. He tumbles down as he gets inside the 10-yard line. It'll be another first down. And the Crusaders on the move again.
And right there you can see the athleticism. He's a basketball player. At 6'8", you should be a basketball player, I think. But
my guess is he is also here.
But you can see his athleticism. Most guys who are 6'8", 225 pounds might be a little gangly, might not be able to get their feet underneath them. Blake Maimone is not that kind of a player. He's very athletic. He's got a decent arm. He's been working on his mechanics. He actually is a guy who might start at several other schools, but the problem is he has Harley Kirsch here and he has Trey Reynolds.
Maimone's got it, lofts one high for the corner of the end zone. Little comebacker, is it in there? It looks to be caught, and it is. A touchdown for Eastside Catholic as Maimone finds Johnny Mahalik in the end zone. A 6-foot senior wide receiver coming down in the corner with a defender draped all over him.
Yeah, and Maimone actually threw that right to the back corner like he's supposed to, and Mahalik actually just made a play on the ball. The Centaurs actually had good coverage on that play. Just wasn't able to make the play, and Mahalik actually made him pay.
So we'll see if the Centaurs correct their alignment, and Eastside Catholic running that 2-point conversion last time. This time they go for the kick, and this one is wide left. No good on the PAT try, so we're back to a 21-0 score as the Crusaders in the opening minute of the second quarter able to finish off a drive, and right now it hasn't mattered who they've had at the helm of the offense.
Yeah, and what you see from Jeremy Thielbar is you're gonna see him start to sub in his guys. He's got Blake Maimone in there. He's probably gonna play his starters most of the half, But then in the second half, he's going to get a lot of work from some of his younger guys as long as they're able to keep this kind of a lead. Now, what I really like about Eastside Catholic is, besides Markel Sanders, for a small school like this, you don't see a ton of guys getting recruited out of here. We already talked about Markel Sanders being recruited by Wazoo. He had offers from a couple other schools, chose Washington State. He'll be heading over there next year. Another guy that we haven't talked about yet is Kristen Shigley, who had an offer from several Ivy League schools, but chose to go to Harvard about 3 weeks before the start of the season. Really big physical guy, about 6'4", 275 pounds. He plays left guard or left tackle for them, and really is a good-looking athlete.
Anytime you have the opportunity to carry on at a school such as a Harvard, I mean, what a tremendous opportunity for that young man. And to have that settled before the season, I think, is also a big thing to be able to focus on the upcoming campaign. Big kick, back deep, and it's going to be one of the big guys back there picking it up. Justin Buren on the run. I'll tell you what, the Centaurs are fighting hard for every yard.
And they don't go down quickly like you were mentioning, Alex. They do not go down quickly. They constantly keep those legs churning, and that's something that you just can't. I mean, you can coach it into them, but that's natural ability too. Those guys just are out there fighting. It's the will to keep going when you should be stopped.
And you know, one of the situations as you think about here, Eastside Catholic playing in the 3A classification, which has largely been owned by Bellevue over the years, whereas the Centaurs playing in the 3A classification up there in the honorable mention category, there's maybe, you could argue, a better shot that they could win their league title or their state title or province title than it might be for Eastside Catholic to win it down here.
Yeah, and last year Eastside Catholic was drummed out of the playoffs in the first round by Bellevue, 42-0. And that was one thing that really stuck with the Eastside Catholic players. It looks like we have an injured Crusader coming off the field here.
Looks like a little leg injury here for one of the defenders for Eastside Catholic.
Yeah. Getting back to my point, though, that really stuck in their craw, and they went to work. Coach Thielbar said they went to work almost the next day. Got in the weight room, started working on it, worked on fundamentals, went to camps during the offseason, and you're starting to see it pay off.
2nd and 4 for the Centaurs, and might have been a fumbled snap in there. That ball was loose, and we'll see the officials, I believe, calling it down, and they do. So a 2nd and fairly short yardage for the Centaurs, and unfortunately another miscue.
Yeah, and that we've said it a couple times. They just cannot have miscues. If they're going to have any chance of being able to come back and do anything, they cannot have miscues like that. But that's just something you see with kids, especially early in the season. I know we're in week 3 for teams down here. We're in their 2nd week, so they should have it down by now, but unfortunately they weren't able to get the good center snap.
Well, for Eastside Catholic, this is their 3rd game of the season after wins over Eastlake last week and Liberty in the opening week. But for the Centaurs, this is just their 2nd game of the season. And the rollout by Okamoto, and he tried to find a receiver, but man, was he hurried.
Yeah, he was hurried, and great coverage over there by Peter Kimball on Justin Buren. Just didn't let him have anything, and Okamoto just had to throw it in the ground.
9:37 to go in the first half. 21-0 Eastside Catholic over the visiting Centaurs from Coquitlam, British Columbia. Centennial Secondary School, the official name. Up that way. They are actually doing something the Eastside Catholic did here, and that is getting a new facility. The plans for that were out earlier this year for Centennial, so they're looking forward to that in a little while. Here's the line drive rolling punt from London. It's going to go out of bounds before it can get to Crusader territory. They'll mark it at the 48, and it'll be a short field for the cruising Crusader offense. Already with 3 scores in this one.
I'm imagining we'll see Mamone for the rest of the night. Maybe Harley Kirsch to start the 3rd quarter just to see how he comes out and handles things. But Mamone is going to get most of the reps the rest of this game.
Head coach Rick Pichet for Centennial. You know, got to be looking at this as a real team-building opportunity.
Yeah.
To get the guys on a bus, come down, test the mettle of one of the top teams down in the States, and to learn and research, fine-tune some of the things as they start to get into the meat of their schedule here shortly. Here's Maimone on another carry, and you can tell they really love that quarterback running out there, which it might be wise for them to have 3 capable quarterbacks if they're going to have that running back out there, that quarterback running quite a bit.
Yeah, and that was actually a very good fake by Maimone. I actually thought Jarvis had the ball. I was following Jarvis, and nobody was tackling him, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's on the other side. It's very good. What you want is that mesh point. You want it to be where the defense is unable to see where it is.
The give to the running back, Jarvis, as he was back in. We thought his night might have been done early as well, as they were having a steady diet of Dom Fatui in the backfield. But they go to Jarvis, and Jarvis, just like he did in the first quarter, rumbling ahead to move the chains. 8:52 and counting down in the second quarter of play.
I think you're going to see them try and run the ball quite a bit here. Just trying to eat up as much clock as possible.
Out of the pistol with 2 receivers to the top of the screen, 1 to the bottom. Thought there might have been a little bit of movement on the receiver. This is the one that's streaking into the end zone and lost it out of the bread basket. Oh, my. He had a step.
Oh. Maimone couldn't have thrown that any better. Just put it right there. And, you know, I'm not making excuses here. As someone who played wide receiver, believe me, I'm not making excuses. But sometimes when it's dark like that, and they don't have a ton of lights out here, they have enough for the regulations to be met. But they don't have, this isn't as brightly lit as other places that we've seen, especially last week when we were over at Mount Si. They had a ton of lights out there. So it's possible that he probably just lost it in the darkness and wasn't able to pick it up.
Maimone will go back to the well again. Will he look for the same receiver? Don't know, but he's got a man open. What a defensive play by Nathan Lund to get a hand in there at the last second. My goodness.
Wow, great play by him, because that was a for sure touchdown right there. Maimone again threw it to the right, and actually he threw it a back shoulder throw, which was where it needed to be, but Lund just made a nice play on it.
So it'll be 3rd and 10, as we talked about them wanting to keep it on the ground perhaps, but they've gone to the air twice in a row, and this a passing situation. But Jarvis back there, he's carried the load pretty well in this one. You could go there as well. But he'll block as they'll look on the out route, find the man for the first down. The pass complete to Colin Boyd, 6'2", 180-pound junior on the hitch.
Yeah, great play by Maimone, just spotting the matchup that his man was off of him far enough. And Boyd was able to get free, get separation, and get the first down.
8:15 and now counting down as they get the chain set. 1st and 10 for Eastside Catholic from Charlie Acosta Field. What a home field advantage this will be over the next few weeks as they play 4 consecutive at home, including their league opener against Bainbridge Island next week. Here's the run, and now the running back going to reverse his field. It's Addison Hull, a sophomore. And he couldn't find anything outside, and he didn't find anything inside either.
Yeah, just got a 2-yard gain on that. And with those speed guys, sometimes the one thing you worry about with those speed guys is sometimes they aren't ready to put their shoulder down and really get their nose dirty up there. And he wasn't ready to do that. And look how much smaller he is compared to Blake Maimone.
Hull, the back in the eye behind the pistol quarterback, Maimone. And the give is to Hull again. He skirts one defender and then is hit hard by Lund as he gets into the meat of the defense.
Nice vision, made a good cut right when he got the ball. Now they're going to bring in their jumbo package.
About a 4-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd and about 3 to go from the 15.
And Fatui is the big guy. I expect him to get this run.
He's the running back, and he does take it off tackle. He's got some room, pulled down just before the goal line. They'll spot him just short. But a great carry on 3rd down to pick the chains up and move them and get them right in sniffing distance of the goal line.
Yeah, really well blocked over there by Christian Shigley and Nick Dragon over there.
They'll run a play. It's a keeper, but it will go for naught as a flag early. And not sure if we had misaligned players. They were trying to hurry up and go quickly to catch the Centaurs napping. We do have offside, so someone was lined up incorrectly. And, of course, down there right on the edge of the goal line, I think Eastside Catholic would have just preferred to run the play because it looked to be pretty open. But the Centaurs, I guess, getting a break here that they'll have to replay that down.
Yeah, and they're really dragging right now. You can see their hands are on their hips, having to play both ways. Somebody who did that in high school myself, that just wears on you after a while, especially when you're getting beat like this.
6:30 to go in the second quarter. Maimone at quarterback and Fatui the running back, and a timeout taken by Centennial. As you're kind of mentioning here a moment ago, I think not only do they want to talk things over defensively, but I think they want to give some of these guys a rest.
Yeah, definitely. And you almost use it like a basketball coach would use a timeout, just to give his guys a breather, say, hey, let's gather up, let's figure this thing out and go from there.
Well, we talked about the 3A classification here in the state of Washington, and Bellevue coming in, top-ranked as we imagine. Sports Illustrated actually has them 5th in the nation right now. Of course, they've done nothing to have anybody think ill of them over the start of this season. Of course, O'Day is the rival of the Crusaders and also a rival within their conference in the Metro Mountain, and they're ranked 2nd in the state. Mount Si, a team that we saw last week that defeated a 4A ranked team in Issaquah last week, they're 3rd right now, according to the Seattle Times, and then Lakes, and then it's Eastside Catholic 5th. So you talk about the upper strata here in the 3A, and as good as Eastside Catholic has been tonight and has played so far this season, they've got a lot of work in front of them.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do, because they still have games against Seattle Prep, still have games against O'Day, but now they have already taken on Liberty and Eastlake, which are 2 very good squads. So they have a tough row. But one thing that Coach Steelbar told me in the summer was they wanted to get as much experience against top teams so they could be ready for the playoffs.
Here we go. 1st and goal from the 1 after the Centaur timeout. They'll go to the air, and then Maimone uses his feet and falls forward into the end zone for the score. Touchdown, Eastside Catholic. And the Crusaders keep it on cruise control in this one. Now up 27-0 with the kick coming, or potentially the 2-point conversion. And for Centennial, you hope that the team is able to regroup a little bit here and start to work their offense a little bit in a way that we've seen some of these star players and star performers be able to do.
And the first game of the year that I did was Federal Way versus Rogers, and Federal Way was up 41-3 at halftime. And I'll say the same thing today, and the extra point is good, but I'll say the same thing today that I said 2 weeks ago, is if you're Centennial, you have to play the game like it's 0-0. You can't come out and you can't be thinking about the fact that we're down 28-0 with 6:17 left in the third quarter, because you have to get something positive going, even if it's just getting a first down on the next drive. Get a first down and then worry about what you do next. Get another first down and just keep going that way. It's got to be incremental, because these guys do not have the talent to run with Eastside Catholic. So what they have to do is they really have to bring it and just look positive play by positive play. Don't worry about what's happened before. It's 0-0. Let's go from here.
6:17 to go in the second quarter. Jacob Gay making it a 28-0 affair with that PAT just a moment ago. He missed one earlier, so he was able to rebound and regroup there. Something tells me he may have a few more chances yet this evening to work on that particular skill, as Eastside Catholic looking to improve to 3-0 on the season. And the Crusaders will line up for another kickoff. Back deep are the 2 guys you would expect for Centennial. It's Nathan Lund and it's Justin Buren. Buren a senior, Lund a senior back there, and this time it will be Buren who has it. He'll gather it in, then take the short lane, and he hurdles a player, and he's up the sideline. He's out distancing. He could be gone to the 20, the 10, and into the end zone. My goodness, we talked about athleticism. That was it right there.
Yeah, and showed actually very good speed on that. He just hasn't been able to break free all night. Great play by Bruce. He actually just made one cut and just outran everybody else.
Justin Buren, about an 80-yard touchdown return to the short side of the field. My goodness.
Yeah, and the one thing is, Eastside Catholic wanted to kick it away from Nathan Lund, and they've been kicking it to Van Buren for a while, Buren for a little while, and now who are they going to kick it to?
They might kick it out of bounds. That was a pretty good one here. Here's Lund for the try for point. It's up and through, but wow, check that. It looked like it was going, but it hit the post. We had a flag, and we might be doing this one over again. We'll see. The officials coming out, but Lund, we talked about his arsenal of skills, and the kicking has been the one that suffered. The penalty will be against Centennial. It'll be declined, I believe. Or wait, they're still talking it over, so we still may have this one to do, but everyone has retreated to the sidelines. It looks like it is against Centennial, and that kick will be no good, that Eastside Catholic will just go ahead and refuse the penalty here.
Yeah,
so.
I think they just didn't have enough men on the line, and that's why they called the penalty. But still, 28-6, try and get a stop here. Use your athletes on the next play. Maybe you're able to get some points before the end of the half.
Well, for the Centennial, that's got to feel good.
Yeah.
It gets you some momentum back, even though it's one play and you're back on defense, presumably. The opportunity to get on the scoreboard when you're in a ball game where you're wondering if you're ever going to get on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and that's something they're going to have to make plays when they get the chance to make them. And right there, I really thought that Eastside Catholic was going to have the angle on him to be able to make the play, but he just outran him. He broke that down.
What a beautiful evening here on the Sammamish Plateau. The sunset behind or in front of us here down on the Eastside Catholic end of things. They will lateral it back to Peter Kimball, who's trying to return the favor, and he just may. Got a couple guys to beat. He weaves, and he's going to be lateraling, ill-advised, and it could be recovered by the Centaurs. We have a penalty flag down as well in a scrum, and let's get this one all sorted out. That was not a good idea.
No, you don't do that. And now they've got flags coming in for
excessive play out there.
Not something you want out there either.
Well, you talk in a soccer sense in the MLS and whatnot about international friendlies. This would classify in that category. Consider it a friendly, even though they do count on your record. This is a real opportunity for a couple of nations to meet on the gridiron and exchange goodwill. And, of course, right now they're exchanging a little bit of friendliness, shall we say, out on the field.
Kimball makes a great play to get it all the way down there. The Centaurs make a great play to get the tackle at about the 10-yard line, and then Kimball unbelievably tosses the ball and tries to get a touchdown out of it when they didn't really need that.
Now, it is, as you mentioned, with some of the lighting, it is kind of difficult to see on some of these, especially down at the far end of the field. But it's possible that as he was being swung around that he might have just lost the handle on that particular football. So one of a couple possibilities, but neither one of them seemed to be very good for the Crusaders. Illegal forward pass, so they're going to rule that it was intentional. That's the penalty. And now a personal foul against the Centaurs. So we've got flags both ways. It'll be first down for Eastside Catholic as they recover the football.
Yeah, and very lucky to recover that football. Not something that you want to do normally, but they were able to get it back, and now they have a chance to extend their lead.
5:37 to go, opening half at Charlie Acosta Field here at Eastside Catholic Stadium. Alex Webster along with Scott Eklund. Glad you could join us for Friday Night Football here on PlayOnSports.com. So a huge return for Peter Kimball and a great touchdown-saving tackle by the Centaurs. But the Crusaders right back where they were a few minutes ago, knocking on the door, as they'll have it first and goal from the 10. About as far back as you can go to have first and goal. The officials picking up all the laundry out there, the blue laundry, helping to create awareness for prostate cancer this week. The officials with the blue hankies.
And it looks like Kirsch is back in.
So Harley Kirsch back in at quarterback as they exchange series between Harley Kirsch and Blake Maimone. Maimone with the touchdown run the last time down. So we'll see how Kirsch does after a few series off. He'll get it and hand it off right away to the running back up the middle. A good gain. It'll bring up second and goal.
Nice 4-yard gain right off the right side for Jarvis right there. And as you see, Eastside Catholic never huddles. They usually just get the play right at and they call it right at the line of scrimmage.
Nico Vizquel in at running back here with Harley Kirsch calling the signal. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right. Here's the snap and the give and the carry for the score on the touchdown. That is actually Aaron Bruckmate. Touchdown, Eastside Catholic on the run.
Yeah, good-looking sophomore there. 6 foot, 200 pounds. Really showed some good explosion there. He could be the running back of the future for this Eastside Catholic team.
So Aaron Bruckmate, 6 foot, 200-pound running back, runs it right in from 10 yards out. And just like that, a couple of plays, and Eastside Catholic gets back the long touchdown on the kickoff return that the Centaurs posted a moment ago. Try for point coming up. Jacob Gay has hit on 2, missed on 1. This one up, and this one drilled dead solid perfect. And it's now 35-6 with under 5 minutes to go in this highfalutin scoring first half.
Yeah, we've had 40 points scored here in the first half, and still have 5 minutes left. I'm anxious to see if we see any more scores. And I'm also actually kind of anxious just to see what Eastside Catholic decides to do on the kick here. They might just squib this thing to keep it out of the hands of Buren and Lund, who obviously are the 2 big-time playmakers for them.
So 35-6 still in the first half. The Crusaders yet to be denied as they've been able to manage things in every phase of the game except for kickoff return. And they've done pretty good on that except
the one big play. Yeah,
the one big play.
Exactly.
But that actually has been, I think, the best offense in terms of field position for the Centaurs. They have both Lund and Buren back there, a couple of guys that have some wheels.
Yeah, Buren is 6'2", 200 pounds. He's a senior. And Lund is 6 foot, 185 pounds. He's also a senior. These are 2 good-looking athletes. I've been pretty impressed by them, and I can see why schools like Portland State, like Eastern Washington, like Idaho are looking at these guys.
Well, Jacob Gay's leg may need a bucket of ice after this game for all the kickoffs and the PATs that he's thus far had to work on. If there's a great way to practice it in game simulation, this is about as good as it's going to get right now. A 35-6 advantage, and we'll see if the Centaurs' best offense, the kickoff return, is able to work its magic again, and it won't as Lund gets carried into the end zone. Don't worry about the drop. As soon as that ball breaks the plane, it comes out to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, in Washington high school football, that's how they call it. If it goes in the end zone, they want to eliminate as many big collisions as they can. So if it goes into the end zone, regardless of whether you have it or not, it is considered a touchback.
And that's probably the solution for the Lund and Buren kickoff return combination. Just put it in the end zone.
Either that or kick it out of bounds. That's about it.
Well, the Centaurs will try to get something going offensively. Their special teams attributing or accumulating that first score up on the board. And so the Centaurs will go to work here offensively as Nick Okamoto, the 5'10", 165-pound junior quarterback, has not had much in the way of passing thus far, and when he's dropped back, he's been hurried by the Crusader defense. 3 receivers in the set. They fake and give the pitch to Lund, another way to get him the ball, but there's 5 blue shirts all on top of him right away to bring him down.
And as we said earlier, the Crusaders were going to key on Lund, especially after he made a couple of those early runs that really showed his ability. And on that one, you had 5 Crusaders around the ball. And that's something that's going to happen for the rest of the night for Lund. So they're going to have to figure someone else out. Try and get the ball in the hands of Buren. Try and get the ball in the hands of some other guys and let them make plays.
Loss of a couple. That play a little bit slow to develop and allowed the Crusaders to really get that gang defense going. Now they change the formation up. They had spread out a moment ago. They bring it in tight together, and we've got movement. And it looks like it'll be on the Centaurs.
Yeah, it looks like the right guard took off just a little bit before the snap of the ball, and that's why they're calling it back.
Difficult when you're trying to get that advantage on a team that's playing as superior as Eastside Catholic is in this one. You want to get every advantage, every extra half second is an advantage for you, but unfortunately it's going to cost them 5 yards.
And not just that, they actually haven't been able to throw the ball either. So putting yourself in long yardage situations isn't very helpful either.
2nd and 17 now for the Centaurs, and they'll pack it in together here out of that modification of the wing tee. See if they put it in the hands of Buren. He's had some good efforts carrying the ball. He's the man in motion here. He'll collect it, working on what would be a pitch around the right end, and he's met there by a bunch of blue shirts, but he drags him for extra yardage, finally pulled down out of bounds on the far side.
Yeah, gained 3 yards on that play when it looked like it could have been for a loss. So good way to keep his feet moving. Buren has really impressed me tonight. Been physical. He's a good-looking athlete, and he's got good speed. So I think that's all you can ask for, really, when you're looking at a high school athlete.
So a pickup of a little bit, but they need a lot. And it's going to be 3rd and 15. 3:33 left to go in the second quarter. It's been all Crusaders, save one kickoff return thus far. And the Centaurs looking to convert on 3rd and long and to move the chains. They haven't moved the chains since the first quarter.
No. They haven't got a first down, yeah. You're right.
3 receivers in this set, plus the slot man. And movement again from Centennial. Again, looking to get that start on the defense. And they'll go back another 5, so 3rd and 20. Tough one for the Centaurs. Coming off of a win, a big win over a local rival in Balenas. They actually have some good showdowns coming up, including one against Mission. And Mission playing a tough schedule, and they'll face the Centaurs next week at Centennial. So they get a home game next week, do the Centaurs. This is about as long a road game as they will have, I would hope. Here's a run in the middle. This is Lund. My goodness, look at that speed. He's into Crusader territory. One man to beat, and he's finally drugged down just shy of the 20-yard line. That's how you convert on 3rd and 20 when you've got a speed man back there by the name of Nathan Lund.
And got a great hole right up there in the middle. He just ran straight up the middle. Didn't even have to make a move until he got to the linebackers. Was able to break it outside. And if it weren't for Johnny Mahalik, that's a touchdown.
About a 70-yard or a little bit more than 70-yard. They'll call it officially 68 yards on that run by Lund. And he looked like he had shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, he hit the hole so hard. And that's what you got to love. If you're looking at him as a running back or a wide receiver, what's his explosive? How does he hit the hole? That's what they want to see.
Lund in motion. They give it to the first man through, and the fullback carrying it up ahead gets a nice gainer on first down. They're going to have 2nd and short coming up.
And Coach Thielbar and his staff, especially defensive coordinator Rob Christoph, they cannot be happy with what they've seen here. Couple defensive breakdowns and big plays by Centennial, something they're going to have to shore up. If not tonight, then definitely for next week as they get into their league play.
Jordan Kennedy with the 6-yard gainer, 2nd and 4 from the 16, and the Centaurs with their best offensive field position of the ball game. Okamoto with Lund in motion, barking signals, and somebody jumped. This time, did the Centaurs move, or was it Eastside Catholic pulled off sides, as it looked like they were going on 2nd count?
Looked like it was offsides on that play. Looked like, yep, there it goes. Eastside Catholic made contact with the offensive player across from him, and that's an automatic whistle.
And it's an automatic first down, as it was 2nd and 4. Now it's going to be near the 10-yard line. It'll be marked at the 11, so room, just a little bit of room to get another first down for the Centaurs, but they want to punch it in right here on this set of downs. Centennial with their best-looking offensive drive of the ball game, trying to cut into this 35-6 advantage with 2:14 to go in the first half. Lund in motion. The give is to him. He's through the hole, inside the 5, and drugged down just there.
Nice tackle out there by, I believe that was Alex Kimball, or Peter Kimball, I'm sorry, and made a good play on the edge there to get the tackle. But, Lund continues to show that he is a tough cookie to bring down.
And the action that they have with that man in motion almost sets up a little bit of a counter play.
Yeah, it does.
And with that, a good hole on the left side.
when they run that motion, they want this safety to get out of the middle there.
They give it to the first man through. He's to the goal line. Is he in? No signal. There it is. Touchdown, Centaurs.
Good read there by Okamoto, handing it off to the first man through, a fullback dive.
Jordan Kennedy from 4 yards out gets the score, and the Centaurs with their first offensive touchdown with 1:29 to go in the first half. And Centennial looking to try and make this a ball game.
And if you're Coach Thielbar, now what do you do? That's kind of the question. What do you do? Do you start throwing it and see if you can get some points back on the board, or do you just go in happy to be up by 23 points as you head into the halftime?
They will try the extra point here. They missed it the last time off the upright and were also offside. So Nathan Lund, who got them into good field position, has this one blocked. And that might be a case of the Centaurs going both ways in this one, being really winded because Eastside Catholic had a tremendous surge.
Yeah, they got right in. You could have had about 3 or 4 guys blocking that one, but they got it right up the rush, right up the middle, and got it.
So just under 90 seconds before halftime, and the Centaurs saying, hey, don't forget about us. We didn't take this long bus ride down here for nothing. They've gotten their 12 points on a kickoff return and a nice drive, and it's been a combination of Lund with the big carry to get him in position, Jordan Kennedy with the hard running inside, and, of course, that kickoff return a little while ago from Mr. Buren.
One of the things I like about high school football is the community that comes around, and especially these private schools. This is not a very big school. They're about the size of a 1A school.
You're talking about hundreds, in the low hundreds, as opposed to 1,000, which you see at many larger schools.
But they play up because of their ability, to take people from different areas and things like that. But they're listing off birthdays of people today, to the crowd, and everybody's cheering for them and things like that. So that's one of the things I love about high school football.
Here's the kick from Lund. Big end-over-end kick fielded at the 21, and they'll lateral it back to the deep man. It's not Kimball this time, but he's got the same kind of effort. He's into Centaur territory and drug down inside the 40-yard line. Devin Arbus Jackson, he's a freshman, 5'11", 182-pound return man on that play, taking the lateral and rumbling on a big return straight up the field.
Yeah, and really showed some explosiveness there. That's one thing you've seen from Eastside Catholic all night is the up man will take the ball and he'll pitch it to the deep back. And now they've got the ball on the 39-yard line. There's 1:19 left. You try and put this one in and see if you can go in with a 30-point lead.
Harley Kirsch in at quarterback. That's Henry Jarvis as the I-back in the pistol set. Receivers to both sides. So 4 receivers into the set for Kirsch. It looks like they'll come out firing, and he does. The southpaw flushed, looking for some help, and he can't get it. Intended receiver couldn't hang on. Colin Boyd, the intended receiver there. Good coverage from the Centaur defender.
Centennial actually was playing man-to-man on that and blitzed. And unfortunately for Eastside Catholic, they weren't able to make them pay. But they had pretty good coverage on that play.
Nick Okamoto, who's the quarterback on the offensive side, playing cornerback here, had the good defense. But, yeah, they flushed Hirsch and got some pressure there. Will they do it again? They bring a couple of guys. Hirsch stands tall in the pocket, is picked off almost. Oh, my goodness. Justin Buren could not hang on. And I'll tell you what, if he hangs on, there's a good bet he goes the other way.
Yeah, especially with his speed and athleticism. And he knows that he had a chance to do something with that. So, lucky.
And couldn't you imagine, had he taken that the distance, the way things would look on the scoreboard perhaps at halftime after a huge lead by Eastside Catholic. But that did not happen, and Eastside Catholic has an opportunity to post another score here. They got a big 3rd and 10 with Hirsch back there at quarterback. Rolling to his right. The left-hander throws, and this one's too tall. A little bit of contact, but nothing going to be called here. And so Eastside Catholic might be in 4-down territory right here.
Yeah, let's see what they do here. Yeah, it looks like Kirsch is going to head back out.
It's at the 39-yard line. You know, a punt into the end zone is only going to net you a little bit. And it's too long for a field goal try, so they will go for it here.
Or maybe they go for a quick kick.
That's another possibility. Receivers to both sides. There's the quick kick. Nostradamus Eklund right here. This one is going to be down just inside the 5-yard line, down about the 1. Great coverage and great prognostication, my partner.
I really like that play. I wish more people would do it. I'm surprised more people don't do it because that keeps them from having an up back. You just get a quick little punt. He only kicked that probably about 15 to 20 yards, and then it rolled down to the 1.
And the key is getting the roll.
Yeah, it really is.
Under a minute to go, 56 seconds left to go in the first half. Can the Centaurs, who have picked up a bit of steam in this one, a little bit of momentum after a 3-and-out by Eastside Catholic after a long touchdown drive by the Centaurs, can they go 99 yards in 56 seconds and make this one a bit more interesting at the half? We'll see, but they got to be leery because Eastside Catholic might be gunning for the safety here. Okamoto with Lund in motion, will drop back, give to Lund. Lund falls forward, I believe, gets out of the end zone. He might have lost a foot or two. It's going to be a dicey second down situation here. 44 seconds and counting down.
Yeah, and I'm real surprised that Eastside Catholic isn't calling timeouts right now.
They do have,
looks like 3.
I believe, all 3 of theirs remaining. I don't believe that the Centaurs have but 1 remaining. We're now under 26 seconds to go. And this might be the last play of the half, depending on how the Centaurs decide to play this one here. They have just 1 man in the set, 2 receivers spread wide to the right. Buren, the man in motion. He gets it, finds a hole, dodges defenders, gets out past the 10-yard line. He'll have a first down. With 5 seconds remaining, we'll see if the Centaurs opt for the clock to run down once they get the chain set, or if they'll try to run another play. That was a nice run, and if he had beaten 1 more guy, he could have been off to the races. But the clock starts again, and that will do it. The Centaurs let the clock expire, and at the half, it is the Centaurs of Centennial trailing the Crusaders of Eastside Catholic. 35-12 our score, and it could be real interesting in the second half if Lund and Buren get to carry the ball a little bit more against perhaps a weary Crusader defense.
Yeah, I have a feeling that when Coach Thielbar and his coaches get in there, they're really going to read their guys' the riot act. 2 big plays are really what has made the difference in this game. They should be up much bigger than they are. They are up comfortably, 23 points, and should be able to win this game. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get ready for league play, which starts next week. And you're not going to be able to win with defense like we saw tonight.
Well, that's the end of the first half of our broadcast with the Eastside Catholic Crusaders leading the Centennial Centaurs 35-12. We'll be back in a few moments with the PlayOnSports.com second half. Don't go anywhere. It's Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports. You're watching PlayOnSports.com's presentation of Friday Night Football live from Charlie Acosta Field atop the Sammamish Plateau here in the great city of Sammamish, Washington. I'm Alex Webster along with Scott Eklund, where the Eastside Catholic Crusaders lead the Centaurs of Centennial Secondary 35-12. We're just about set to get the second half underway, but first, Eastside Catholic was late coming out of the locker room and will be assessed a penalty for delay of game on the kickoff. They'll be kicking off to the Centaurs. So not the way that head coach Jeremy Thielbar wants to start the second half after the late momentum picked up by the Centaurs in the first half.
Actually, that's considered an unsportsmanlike conduct, so they're actually going to put him back on the 25-yard line. I didn't know that. I thought it was just a delay a game penalty, but...
Well, in essence, it's delaying the operations.
Yeah.
You could see that as possibly being a layer of unsportsmanlike conduct, making another team wait. Whatever it is, it's not polite to the neighbors from the north.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
15 yards go the Crusaders backwards here on the kickoff coming up. And all this does is definitely guarantees an opportunity for Lund or Buren, the two speedy guys back deep for the Centaurs, to get their mitts on this one unless they kick it out of bounds, which you don't want to do. So the Crusaders, Jacob Gay, who's had a bundle of kickoffs in this one as well as PAT tries, will get ready to put a leg into this one. He put the last kickoff try he had in the first half into the end zone, but he'll be hard-pressed to do that here. So here we go in the second half of play, and this one's back deep, and Lund will let it roll, and this one will end up in the end zone. So Jacob Gay deciding, hey, I got a little bit of room, I'm going to use it. Just a poor play by Lund, though, to let that ball roll.
Yeah, if you're Lund, you can't let that ball bounce. You have to take it in the air, and he positioned himself poorly. It's much easier to run up than to run back. He should have positioned himself a little further back, but that's kind of the way it goes.
Centaurs were stymied in the first quarter, but got things going in the second quarter on a long kickoff return by Buren for a score. And then on the ensuing possession for the Centaurs, they were able to march nearly the length of the field and punch it in for a touchdown. They've had struggles on the PATs, but they're going to try and pick up momentum again, as their last possession of the first half was down at their own goal line with just seconds to go. So out of a wishbone set they go here, and minimal gain on the carry. So that's the first time we've seen the wishbone for the Centaurs, but we did see the Centaurs not go into the locker room and get a good discussion from their head coach, Rick Pichet, at halftime.
Yeah, they just sat out on the 30-yard line. Everyone took a knee, and he gave them their halftime lecture there, and they talked about different things and just decided to stay out and get a few more warm-ups in before the start of the half.
Well, we talk about teams having multiple offensive formations, and Centennial is definitely one of them. They go from the wishbone to the wing T with the motion, and the give here to the back is 4-0. No gain again.
No gain again, and right inside there you see number 77, Dion Fatui. Big guy, 310 pounds, 305 pounds, right in the middle, long hair. Almost impossible to move off the ball. He's only a sophomore. If he's able to grow a couple more inches, he's going to get a lot of looks because he's very athletic for a guy his size.
Well, as a sophomore, I think there's definitely some room to grow. 3rd and 9 to go. Just minimal gain on a couple of carries here by the Centaurs on the first couple of snaps here of the second half. Really compressed formation here. That is Buren in motion. They will pitch it out to him, and he wants to look deep. He's got a man. It's London. It's a little too high. And the Centaurs will look to punt here after going 3 and out. They tried that play in the first half and couldn't connect. This one was just a little too tall for Lund.
Yeah, his first read on that is a receiver on the backside running down the middle of the field, but he was double covered, so he dropped it off to Lund, who actually was open. He just couldn't complete the pass.
So Centaurs with 4th and 9, just underway in the third quarter. Glad you could join us here on Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com. And it is Lund who has been off and on with his punting. Crusaders setting up the return as Lund able to get this one off, and it's going to take an early Crusader bounce, and near midfield, just in Centaur territory, is where it will be covered up by the deep man, and that's where the Crusaders will take over, and we'll see which quarterback makes his way out to lead the team here in the third quarter. We've seen a mix of Harley Kirsch and Blake Mamone.
And on that punt, just getting back to that for a second, Johnny Mahalik was actually blocking, and I think the ball actually rolled down his back and was a live ball. It was good cover by the punt returner there.
One of those situations where you have some of those shorter punts and guys in coverage, you got to be wary of that, and you got to know where that ball is, even if you're on the block.
You do, and on that, the punt returner is expected to yell something like fire, fire, so guys run off the field, but obviously that didn't happen.
This is Blake Maimone in at quarterback again. They're setting up the screen, and it's executed well. The pass complete to Henry Jarvis. He's got a couple of guys on the sideline, and he puts a forearm shiver into a couple of them there, busting out of those tackles, but he can't break away from the sideline.
Yeah, nice 14-yard gain, though, for a first down, knocked out by Lund. Lund had to come all the way from the other side of the field to make the tackle because Jarvis broke so many tackles.
Nathan Lund, the 6', 185-pound senior. We saw him exhibit some of his athleticism in the first half, and he continues here, coming across the field for the stop. Blake Maimone, the sophomore quarterback here. He'll keep here. Weaves his way through traffic. He's got an open lane, one man to beat. Couldn't get past him, but he's got it first and goal down around the 7-yard line.
Right there, you had a 28-yard gain by Maimone, who is just, and I said it in the first half, it's surprising how athletic and fast he is for a guy his size, 6'8", 225 pounds.
Maimone in the first half with touchdowns both passing and running in the second quarter. He had a 9-yard completion and a 1-yard run.
And should have had a touchdown pass as well that was dropped. That was completely right in the right hands.
That's true. First and goal. Here's the give. Jarvis, running room, touchdown, Crusaders.
And right there you just see on the right-hand side they just caved in the defensive line and were able to get an easy touchdown for Jarvis.
For Jarvis, that is his second score of the ball game. He had a 3-yard run back in the first quarter. Seemed like light years ago. It's 41-12 with the try for point coming with 9:53 to go in the third. Jacob Gay getting a workout for that right leg. This one is up and nearly blocked, and it is good.
Now how does Centennial answer this is going to be trying to get the ball into Lund's hands, trying to get it to Buren's hands. The two playmakers on this offense, the ones that Portland State is actually here to see, as well as some of the Crusaders as well. But this was their chance to really get out and see Centennial.
We talked about both these two teams in the first half and the talent that they possess in terms of several of the kids on both sides being recruited here in the States to play collegiate ball, and Lund being one of them. And of course, Markel Sanders, we talked about, was star player for Eastside Catholic that's sitting this one out. He's nicked up a bit and wants to gear up for and be fresh for league play against Bainbridge next week. And then, of course, the lineman, Christian Shigley for Eastside Catholic, on his way to Harvard next year. So you see some talent that's able to play at the next level on both these squads.
Yeah, and Trey Reynolds is a young man who's going to get recruited by some schools. Peter Kimball is a guy that I really like, athletic kid. Didn't make a smart play on the kickoff return that he had, but, athletic kid, has some speed, can play defensive back, can play wide receiver in different sets. So he's another one who's getting a look as well. And then you've got some younger guys like Dion Fatui. You've got Elisha Paaga, two guys who are juniors and sophomores who are starting to get looks from schools as well.
In case you're just joining us, it's been mostly Eastside Catholic in this one, save a couple of good efforts by the Centaurs, and some of the guys putting forth the good effort. This guy, Nathan Lund, wearing jersey 1 out there. His mate in the backfield, Justin Buren, wearing jersey number 15. So if you're just joining us, those are the guys in the white jerseys to keep your eyes on, because if you don't, they'll be gone.
They'll be gone, yeah, exactly. and both of those guys have made plays tonight. But as you see, Eastside Catholic, at least on the first drive of the Centaurs, they were able to. I almost said the Crusaders, the Centaurs, but the Crusaders defensive coaches came in and they said, we're going to key on these two guys.
Centaurs 3 and out in their first drive of the third quarter. Crusaders take their first drive and go for a score. They change things up on the defense here a little bit. The handoff to Buren. bumping off a few guys. He'll rumble ahead for about 3. Some good positive yardage, and that's more yardage than the Centaurs had on their first drive in the third.
And right there you see Elisha Paaga, junior, defensive lineman, 290 pounds at only 5'10", 5'11", but really stout against the run, holds the edge really well, and that's something that you're really asking for from your defensive ends when you play at 3-4 like they do.
Eastside Catholic ranked 3rd in the 3A classification in the state by the Seattle Times, the Centennial Centaurs. In the top classification in British Columbia, among those receiving votes, if you will. They're just outside the top 5 as rated by the Province, the newspaper up that way. Here's Lund on the carry, and he may lose just a hair. After he gets around the end, he's met there by the Crusaders.
And right there you saw good inside-out pursuit by the linebackers for the Crusaders, able to make the play and they make the tackle, keep Lund from gaining ahead of steam.
Nick Okamoto, who had a touchdown pass last week in a big win by Centennial over a regional rival, Balenas, 52-14. They found the sledding tough in this one, and no one tougher than the quarterback, who's really struggled back there. They've tried to keep it on the board, on the ground, have the Centaurs, but they do have trips to the bottom of the screen. Single receiver to the top as Okamoto surveys the defense, taking his time, and he might be careful. They've been called for delay once or twice already in this game. The man in motion, that is Lund. And he's going to be pushed back after the handoff.
And there we see Dion Fatui making a play right there. It's one of the first plays we've seen him actually make the tackle. Usually he's the one getting blocked by 3 or 4 guys, allowing his teammates to make the tackle. But on that one, he just knifed through and was able to make the tackle in the backfield.
4th down and 6, so the Centaurs not finding any room to roam here in their first 2 series of the second half. And we talked about Eastside Catholic coming out a little bit late for the start of the second half. Could that be that they were getting a good talking to from the head coach about the effort late in the second quarter?
Yeah, I have a feeling that they got an earful from the coaching staff.
Lund with the high kick and the deep man waving everybody off. And finally the Centaurs downing it at the 44-yard line. And that's where the Crusaders will take over. Not a bad punt by Lund as he gets that one up in the air. And I think by keeping it short, they're keeping it away from the return men.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to do that. And they want to make Eastside Catholic earn this by running the ball and throwing the ball. And they don't want to just give them easy big plays when in the special teams where their guys are really gassed. I mean, you can see it. They've all got their hands on their hips as they're walking around. These guys having to play both ways, that's just tough. That's tough sledding right there.
7:12 to go in the third. 42-12, the advantage for the Crusaders. And the ball coming their way as Blake Mamone returns to operate the Crusader offense, which has not been stopped too often in this one.
Really, the only stopping that they've done is stopping themselves. They only punted once, and it was that quick punt at the end of the half.
Twins to the near side. The one back there is Fatui, I believe. He'll get the carry, or no, he won't. It's Mamone on the keeper, and he's up ahead near a first down. He'll be a couple yards short.
Yeah, Mamone, just him leaning forward is going to get you 2 yards practically.
6'8", 225-pounder. Just a sophomore, and he's third string on this team, seeing a lot of action here with the starter Trey Reynolds, a senior, trying to come off of an injury. He did not play last week in lieu of freshman Harley Kirsch, who got the start in this one. Kirsch leading them to a win over rival Eastlake last week and getting him off to a good start in this one, but he's on the bench thus far in the second half. As Mamone hands off to Fatui. Fatui brought down WWE style right on top of that Eastside Catholic logo in the middle of the field. Minimal gain.
Dominic Fatui is the twin brother of Dion Fatui, and they have similar hair.
And I've been told that they're fraternal twins.
Yeah.
And not identical, so the size difference there is explainable.
There is a big size difference right there.
Third down and short, 2 yards to go, 6:02 to go in the third. Mamone out of the pistol offense, a receiver either side. Gives it to Fatui, who might be just shy, but he's still going. He's still on his feet and finally pushed back. I think that third and fourth effort may have gotten it, but we've got a flag down on the field.
That looked like it might be a face mask. It's hard to tell. Sometimes you get a hold in there, but it looked like they might have had his face mask on that one.
Fatui coming off of the field with the helmet coming off easily, and you called it. It is the face mask. And unfortunately for the Centaurs, that looked like they had Eastside Catholic stop. The extra effort by Fatui and then the face mask penalty. It's one of those breaks that the Centaurs, who only traveled 22 guys down here going both ways, winded. And, of course, emerging with American football up in British Columbia, not as honed in. You don't have the youth programs. But here in this situation, a tough break because it looked like they had Eastside Catholic stopped for a moment.
Yeah, and it looked like it looked like he might have had the first down depending on where they were going to spot it. But one way or the other, it was either going to be very fourth and short or first down. But now you give him 15 yards on top of that, and you just can't afford to do that.
Henry Jarvis, who already has a couple of touchdowns on the ground, is back in at running back. A receiver either side. Here's Maimone. The give to Jarvis. He lost the handle. Did he fall back on top of it? I think he did. He did.
Wow.
Big loss, though, on the play, but they retained possession, which is key.
Boy, that looked like Centennial was going to be able to get on it. JT Naso actually got in from his defensive tackle position, and it looked like he was going to be able to get that in, but
that's one of those drills you run in practice, too. You got a couple of guys, you throw that ball out there, and you compete for it. And the Centaurs came up short on that one. Naso giving way as Jarvis able to get his hands wrapped back on it. Second down and 16. They'll give it to Jarvis. He's around the end, drugged down by a couple of Centaurs, but he gets back most of what he lost on that fumble a moment ago.
Good play there by the linebacker because if not, Jarvis was gone. Joey Hogue on that one was able to make the play.
Pick up a 4. Officially, they'll call it 3rd and 10, but it'll be a long 10. 4:36 to go in the third. Crusaders looking to add to a 42-12 advantage in this one, in their final tune-up before league action, as they get underway in Metro Mountain action against Bainbridge Island next week right here at Charlie Acosta Field. Nice defensive play. Was that Lund or Buren? Buren got in there for the swat away as Maimone had a rocket shot for the intended receiver on the near side, but if it wasn't for the defense, that might have been completed.
And this is one where they did a quick kick earlier. This is one they're on the 31-yard line. You might as well just go for it. You're only going to gain 10 yards anyway.
If you get it into the end zone.
It's
4th and 11, and give some credit to the Centaurs. They've stiffened the defense here on this particular series.
Getting back to the Fatuis just for a second, can you imagine the food bill for those guys? One's 235 pounds, one's 305.
Here's a snap back, and Maimone looking for the receiver near the sticks. He's got it, and the first down on the far side of the field. Intended receiver, I want to say, is Michael Story.
And the cornerback on that side, William Carter, had good coverage, but the problem is he didn't break on the ball. He kept the man in front of him like he's supposed to. That's a cover 4. It's kind of a cloud situation where they just go down to about 15 yards, but he's expected to break on the ball when you see the receiver break out, and he didn't break out quick enough.
Cole Ivanoff was the receiver on the far side, a senior, coming up with a big catch here for a first down, 5'10", 160-pounder. Here's Maimone, the 6'8 quarterback, in traffic. Gets a few yards before he's finally brought down, and a late flag, and another late flag.
It didn't look like it was a face mask on that, but that seems like that might have been what it was. It's hard to tell.
As I say, 2 guys saw something, so we'll see if it's the same thing that they saw, but the Centaurs a little weary as most of their players playing both ways.
They're calling it a personal foul, so I don't know if it was a late hit or maybe something like that. It's hard to tell.
Nonetheless, it'll be half the distance to the goal with the ball marked after the play about the 11-yard line. So it was a dead ball foul. First down for the Crusaders. Twins to the near side, the short side of the field. Check that. There's 4 receivers in the set, 2 to both sides, and it looks like the Centaurs might have jumped. So replay first down. which we never really even got underway. And it will be 1st and goal from the 3-yard line. Fatui in there at running back along with Blake Mamone, the quarterback. The receiver to the far side of the field is Michael Story. And the man down here, Colin Boyd, at the bottom of your screen. Here's the handoff. Fatui near the end zone, runs over a man, score. Touchdown, Crusaders.
And you have to feel really bad for the linebacker on that side. Aaron Borg, he was just completely overmatched from a physical standpoint. Fatui goes about 5'10", 235 pounds. And Borg is about 180. So you can see. And if you're going to put your pads on him, you better get it low.
That is some tough sledding, tough duty on the defense there when you've got that load coming at you. Dom Fatui, 5'10", 235-pound bowling ball into the end zone for a 3-yard touchdown. Here's Gay for the try for point. It is up, and this one is good. And with that extra point, it's now 49-12 in favor of the Crusaders of Eastside Catholic High School. 3:37 to go in the third. And so at the half, or heading into the half, the Centaurs had looked to make things a little bit interesting. In fact, they were probably one tackle away from being just within a couple of touchdowns of Eastside Catholic. But since then, the Crusaders have put it on cruise control with a couple of touchdowns in their 2 series, and the Centaurs haven't even picked up a first down yet.
Yeah, it's been a tough half for these guys. You can tell they're completely gassed. They were pretty up after those 2 touchdowns, but unfortunately they just haven't been able to maintain that emotion level just because they're so tired.
The Centennial Secondary Centaurs playing in the Eastern Conference. There are 2 other conferences up their way, Okanagan and Western, and Centennial playing with teams such as Lord Tweedsmuir, STMC, Terry Fox, and WJ Mowat. And they will actually head back up there and play a team by the name of Mission next week. But one of their big games is bragging rights in the Coquitlam Poco region. They'll be on the line as Centennial will take on Terry Fox on November 2nd. So, you know, they've got a lot of football ahead of them. In fact, this is not the only British Columbia-Washington matchup. We'll tell you more about that after the kickoff. Here's Jacob Gay. He's had a big leg here. Nathan Lund will field this one and bring it up. They've had some good kickoff returns. This time here he's slowed down a little bit, but is able to rumble past the 25, and the Centaurs will set up shop. This one up there, the other BC-Washington matchup taking place tonight, is a little bit closer to town for the visiting team. It's in Meridian, and it's Lord Tweedsmuir, one of the rivals for Centennial, their league mates up there that's playing in that contest. No report on that one, of course, but nice to see the teams from British Columbia coming down and getting a taste of American football in America.
Yeah, Meridian is a 2A school up in the Bellingham area. Really solid program they have up there. One of their players is actually playing at Washington State, and Andre Leentz. He's a former tight end wide receiver for them.
Okamoto stumbles coming out of the set. He's in trouble and is just able to get it away. In fact, very nice play to be able to just get rid of that as he had 3 Crusaders bearing down on him.
Definitely, and something where when he drops back to pass, it's been pretty much a jailbreak kind of rush against him.
Centennial's offense just trying to get into the flow. They had one great drive in that first half, and most of the work done by a 68-yard run by Nathan Lund, as he just looked like he was shot out of a cannon getting through the Crusaders' defensive line. They're looking for a little bit of that magic right here.
And you see a lot of the Eastside Catholic subs are starting to come in. There's only that I can see, there's only 3 starters still in.
Okamoto rolling out to his left. He's got trouble behind him. He launches it for Lund, who makes a tremendous leaping catch to the 49-yard line of the Crusaders. My goodness, what a catch by Lund.
Heck of a catch right there. Athletic, explosive, jumped up, made the catch, got in front of the defensive back who was out there with him and made the play.
Okamoto just has a ton of Crusaders getting in his way from the snap. Fortunate to be rolling out, able to get enough on that one to get it out to Lund. And a big first down for the Centaurs. It's their first one of the second half with 2:58 to go in the third. Rollout by Okamoto to the other side this time. He's got Lund in the flat. Good for close to another first down. They'll spot him just about the 38-yard line, and that will be good enough for the first down.
Good little scramble by Okamoto there to get away from a pursuing Cody Baker, who's one of the few starters left on the Crusader defensive line, that was getting after him from the backside, but was able to get away, found Lund for a good game.
2:49 to go as he rolls out of bounds. They stop the clock here, but still some good time left in this one for the Centaurs to get their offense together and feel confident about that long bus ride home. We mapped it out to be about a 147-mile trip. And at that time of day, it was about a 3-hour and 28-minute drive. That's not including the border and such. The handoff inside goes nowhere as Jordan Kennedy, who has one of the touchdowns for the Centaurs, is brought down for no gain.
Nice tackle in there by Moni Ione, number 66 for the Crusaders. He's a junior, 6'2", 265 pounds. They've got some size on this Eastside Catholic team that you don't see on a lot of these smaller Catholic, private schools.
Yeah, with you look at the top of the 3A classification and you see teams like O'Day and Eastside Catholic mixed in there with the larger public schools like Bellevue and Mount Si.
And Lakes, yeah.
And Lakes in there as well, of course. Okamoto on the rollout again. He's got some guys bearing down on him. Cross field and cross body. Is it complete? No, they say they trapped it. It was intended for the tight end, Isaiah Stewart. Just a little bit short, and it's going to bring up 3rd and 10.
That was a nice try to dig it out there, and he actually sold it pretty well. He tried to sell it all he could that he made the catch, but on the backside they said, oh.
And the penalty flag down, a late call. It will go against the Crusaders, roughing the passer. So instead of 3rd and 10, it's a first down for the Centaurs, and it keeps the chains moving, and it keeps the Centaurs' offense on the field.
Something you definitely don't want to do is give these guys any opportunity to make some plays. And the Crusaders have given up a couple of penalties, and that has resulted in the Centaurs getting some positive yardage and giving them a little bit of momentum. This game is pretty much well in hand for the Crusaders, but you want to clean things up. You want to make sure that your team is focused and ready to go for league ball next week. And right now, I think Coach Thielbar would say our team was not focused.
Well, the Crusaders had a long walk because they had already huddled up, and then they moved the ball 15 yards. So they had about a 20-yard sprint to get to the line of scrimmage here with the clock restarted. Minute 54 to go. 1st and 10 from the 23. Handoff to Lund around the end. He's got a lane, and he's knocked out of bounds after he gets close to the sticks.
Good play over there by the cornerback, number 19, Nico Vizquel, who is
Omar Vizquel from Seattle Mariner and Major League Baseball fame. Brethren.
What did he play? 22 years in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, so the son of Omar Vizquel seeing some action here for Eastside Catholic, as you talked about a moment ago. With the penalties, some of the reserves seeing some time here as well. So getting a taste of Friday Night Lights. Lund in motion again for the Centaurs. That was a first down. They give it to Jordan Kennedy. He has a score earlier, and he gets close to one here as he leans that right paw out there with the football. He's going to be down to the 1, and the Centaurs taking advantage of every opportunity on this drive. 11-yard pickup on the rumble by Jordan Kennedy.
Great explosiveness in there for the up back. That's rare for you to see him be able to make a play like that, but he just got free in the middle, found a hole, and took it down to about, what do we say, the 2-yard line, yeah.
They'll mark it at the 2 officially. Jordan Kennedy carried from about here in the first half for a score. He's the back there as well. There's Lund in motion. They give it to him, and he's in for the score. Touchdown, Centennial Centaurs. And now a penalty flag after the play.
Things getting a little chippy out there.
1:11 to go. We'll wait for the officials to sort things out. But we did see touchdowns indicated by the linesman. It is good, so count the score for Lund. Personal foul after the play. It's on Eastside Catholic. So that should be marked off on the kickoff. And with the Centaurs now here, their third touchdown of the ball game. This time it's Nathan Lund plunging in from 2 yards out around the left side. They have yet to get a PAT completed in this one. They've had one missed and off the upright, and they've had one blocked, and they have a long wait here for the interior lineman to come in. Nathan Lund, who had the score, has this one blocked, and we've got another penalty flag down. Second block of a Nathan Lund kick, but we'll see it is a false start on the Centaurs. It'll be declined, so again, kicking part of the challenge for a team that traveled only 22 down here. They just don't have the depth to really work on those specialties. But it is Nathan Lund, the all-everything guy, that does try those. Now, last week, Buren had 4 two-point conversions, but they've yet to try one in this game.
Yeah, and one thing that you have to really be encouraged about if you're Centennial is last year, Eastside Catholic won this game 35-0. This year, granted the score is roughly the same from a point differential standpoint, but they've been able to make some plays and put some points on the board, and that has to be encouraging. You always want to look at the positive if you're the coach. What positive can we take out of this game, regardless of what the score was? What can we take out positive? And I think what they can look at is say, hey, we have some athletic guys that can make some plays, and they were able to do it against a very good Eastside Catholic team.
Well, I think the other piece of this, too, is just the continued development of American football in Canada. Of course, it's one of those things you've seen in the CFL for years, and you've seen some of the players come down and make adjustments. I know Adam Braidwood came out of British Columbia to play at Washington State, and you're going to see more of this. In fact, they have development programs going on up there. And great to see Centennial come down here a couple of times and to see this interplay as they both develop. Now we've got, because of the personal foul, it is Centennial kicking off from the Crusader 45-yard line. But we do have a timeout here with 1:11 to go in the third. And an opportunity to remind you that Play On Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at Play On Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
And now, if you're Centennial, do you maybe look at possibly doing an onside kick? Because you're on the positive side.
And they recovered one last week. They recovered a couple of fumbles and an onside kick, and why not? What do you really have to lose? If you kick it into the end zone or it's recovered 10 yards from here, you're only really giving up 10, 15 yards, depending on how it goes. So interesting that they talk about that. I don't know if that's why the timeout was called. I believe it was Eastside Catholic that called the timeout, but not entirely certain.
Well, if you look, they do have their onside kick team up there.
And there's a pooch kick there that's fair caught at the 26, 27-yard line. So I'm not sure if they were trying to go onside. That wasn't quite what they wanted to do. I'm kind of puzzling. If you wanted to go onside, you want to keep it on the ground. If you wanted to kick it back deep, that probably wasn't the effort, but maybe they just wanted to get decent yardage out of it. And 26, 27-yard line doesn't sound too bad for the Centaurs.
What you really want to do on something like that is you want to get a pooch punt, but you want to get it over the line, you know, the front players, and then give your guys a chance who are moving forward to be able to go get the ball, but he wasn't able to do that.
Now, I wonder how much time they spend on that in practice, considering the guy kicking off is
probably not a lot.
Your running back, your safety, and your punter and your kicker. Here's Eastside Catholic. This is Jarvis on the run, a spin move, trying to pull away from the defenders, finally brought down in Centaur territory. Great run from Henry Jarvis.
Tackled out there by Jordan Kennedy and William Carter, and they were trying to strip the ball. That allowed Jarvis to get another probably 10 to 15 yards. Instead of tackling him, they were trying to strip it.
That might be why they got those 2 fumble recoveries last week, did the Centaurs in their game, in their season opener, a big 52-14 win. But they're on the other side of a lopsided score so far in this one with just under a minute to go in the third. And it continues to be Blake Maimone in at quarterback. And now in behind him is Dom Fatui with the score the last time down. Maimone hangs on to it this time, evades a couple of tacklers, and is finally brought down after picking up about 5 or 6. That might be the last or the next to last play of the third quarter. One that was owned early by the Crusaders, but it's been the Centaurs putting on the late surge with the score just a moment ago. The 2-yard blast from Nathan Lane. Maimone looking over to the sidelines, and it looks like they've gotten the signal that says, hey, let's let this one run down. So with 8 seconds to go in the third, and counting down, that is the last play of the quarter. And at the end of the third quarter, the Eastside Catholic Crusaders leading the Centaurs of Centennial Secondary 49-18. So if you're Centennial, we talk about the positives that you're trying to bring out of this. You've seen some games like this where the team at the not so friendly end of the score kind of gets into give up mode and just says, let's play this one out. No quit.
No
quit at all, just like a Centaur.
No, and that's something that you have to be encouraged about if you're the coaches for Centennial. Is our guys haven't quit. They're dog tired. They're playing a team that's better. They're playing a team that's bigger, more physical, more talented than us. We've got guys going both ways, but they still haven't quit. They're still out there battling, and that's definitely a positive you can take away from this game.
And Eastside Catholic will continue on offense. They'll have 2nd down and 5 from their own 34-yard line. We also want to remind you about the school broadcast program. And if you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like this one, be sure to tell your school to sign up for the Play On Sports School Broadcast Program. It allows schools to broadcast all your games and other activities like prom, debate. You can have all kinds of stuff on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP. Eastside Catholic, the give. This is Hull on the carry. And he gets a chunk of yardage near the first down marker. He's going to be a little bit short.
Yeah,
Addison Hull, the sophomore.
It looks like he's, sorry about that, Alex. He looks like he's about a yard short. And it was a good inside run for a small guy like that.
Listed at 5'8", 160 pounds. We saw him as kind of the change of pace back a little bit in the first half. I think this is just some of his limited action here in the second half. We might see a bunch of these guys throughout the fourth quarter.
And this is Riley Hirsch that's in at quarterback.
Hirsch back in. Interesting to see him. He's the starter. He's been trading off a bit with Maimone. And Hirsch, or rather Harley Kirsch, giving the handoff for the first down.
I think that was his first snap of the second half, actually.
It may very well be. I wonder if they're trading quarters in this one.
Yeah, it might be.
So Maimone operating the controls of the Crusader offense for a couple of scores in the third, and now Harley Kirsch given the keys here on perhaps the remainder of this drive. First down and 10 to go after that carry to the far side. Single setback. And the give is to him. And a good carry for a couple of yards for Eastside Catholic. Brandon Wellington getting the ball.
Well, they called that Brandon Wellington, but number 13 is Aaron Brokemate on our list. So
yep.
I don't know.
Aaron Brockmate. I was listening to the PA announcer, and it is Brockmate. Brockmate with a...
he had a touchdown earlier tonight.
He did have a score earlier. back in the second quarter with 4:58 to go. Had a nice 10-yard run. Kirsch with the handoff. It's Brockmate again. Small gain. It'll bring up third and maybe 5 or 6.
6 foot, 200 pounds. Only a 10th grader. Good-looking athlete. I like the look of this Brockmate kid.
Well, Jeremy Thielbar, the head coach for Eastside Catholic, in just his second year, taking over for Jason Gesser, who had a brief stint here as well. Those are guys that know each other well from their WSU ties, and of course traded a little bit as Gesser went over to the U of I, and Jeremy Thielbar came out of the collegiate ranks to helm this program. In fact, when he was hired a year ago, he said he wants to build this program out like some of the top programs down in California and Texas, and he's on his way so far. Here's the handoff to Brockmate again, reverses his field. He's got some running room. Touchdown, Crusaders.
Nice 20-yard run, made a quick cut right at the line to the left side, and there was nobody out there, and he just out-sprinted the secondary to the end zone.
23-yard touchdown run, second one of the game for Aaron Brockmate, and it's a 55-18 affair with the point after try coming. Colin Boyd with a great block as he reversed it, as Brockmate reversed his field and found nothing but green territory in a fast sprint to Pater. Here's the kick. It is up and it is good. So 55-18, the Crusader advantage with 9:21 to go. I'll make that 56-18 now.
And you and I were talking earlier, we're not completely sure on the rules, but usually there would be a running clock if it's over 28 points, but I believe it's only at the half that they have a running clock. So that's one reason why there is not a running clock now, is because they were only up by 23 at halftime when things ended.
Well, and I think if you're going to come this way and you're going to have the experience of bringing your team, you might as well take every snap you can get. They're very precious, I would imagine, for the teams to come and play against opponents that you want to emulate and you want to be like. And the opportunity to do that, you're going to cherish each one of those snaps, I think, in this one, especially when your team has not given up. There's no quit in these guys. They keep going for that extra yard on the Centaur side.
Definitely. The only concern is, are these guys so tired that they're going to get injured? And that's really the only thing that you're looking at. But you are 100% correct that you definitely want to get as many snaps against quality opponent like this.
And of course, safety paramount, as we've seen with rules modifications regarding helmets and the continued work into researching the impacts there and those kinds of things, and safety being paramount amongst the minds of the administrators as well as the coaches. And right now it looks like the Centaurs, I'll be honest, we really have seen, not to knock on wood and not jinx anything, a fairly injury-free ball game. Here's Lund misjudging it, finally picks it up off the bobble, is nearly tackled and then eludes some Crusaders, has reversed his field, and he could be off to the races. 40, 30, no one's going to get him. May there be a blue hanky on the field, though. This one might come back. But Lund, what a run.
Well, regardless of whether this comes back or not, that was a heck of a run. Something that you don't see guys make very often, and now they've got another penalty.
And this could be a little bit of some conversation over on that far sideline, but the Centaurs looking to line up for the try for point, but the officials calling them back, as we'll see what the penalty is. Unsportsmanlike conduct against the Centaurs. Now I'm trying to understand, is an unsportsmanlike conduct, and then we've also got a coaching box violation for the other penalty, but unsportsmanlike conduct at that spot of the field would not negate the score, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they did say that was on the Crusaders.
Oh.
And not on the Centaurs.
All right.
So I don't know if they'll penalize that on the kickoff or what happens.
Well, what a run by Nathan Lund, and it looks like it will stand up here as they are lining up for the PAT. So we've seen returns from Buren, and now Nathan Lund on a fantastic run as he broke several tackles to get down into the end zone with 9:02 to go to make it 56-24 with the try for point coming.
Not that Eastside Catholic doesn't have any quality backs. I mean, Jarvis has shown really well tonight. Hull has run well. Brokemate has run well. But can you imagine this Lund kid on Eastside's team running behind their offensive line?
Well, and here's another silver lining as well, is Lund, who's been doing the kicking, finally gets a PAT in. So, progress is made there. And Eastside Catholic having blocked the last two. So, Lund carries it the distance. We had to sort out some stuff, but then he gets the PAT as well. So 56-25, now the score with 9:02 to go. But, yeah, there's some talent on this team that could certainly play well amongst some of the top teams in this state.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they definitely have some talent, but they just don't have enough of it.
About an 80-yard touchdown return. And that one looked like it had trouble written on it. He had to play it off of a bounce, and then he bobbled it. And it looked like about the time he was bobbling it, there was a Crusader that was going to pummel him, and he might have lost the handle on the ball, but he did exactly the opposite.
Yeah, he makes one move, and there was a Crusader who actually had a chance to make the tackle, didn't make it, and then he was able to cut it outside and wasn't even touched by anybody else.
So with the penalty against Eastside Catholic, and then a penalty on the coaching box violation, they go 15 yards for the unsportsmanlike. So we had unsportsmanlike, and we also had a coaching box violation, all against the Centaurs. So Nathan Lund will have a long way to kick off. So two penalties called against the Centaurs, both marched off here. The unsportsmanlike and then sideline violation. And here's Nathan Lund. He'll try a squib kick. This is an onside kick try, and the Crusaders able to come up with it. And they'll have a real short field to work with the 56-25 advantage and just over 9 minutes to go.
And that's actually what they were kind of looking to do on the last one, on the last kickoff where they had a chance at a short field. And that was actually well placed by Lund right there.
Yeah, that one, had that taken any kind of a bounce or any kind of a bobble, that would have been a real opportunity for the Centaurs.
Yeah. We haven't seen a lot of passing.
That is true. We have not seen a lot of passing from the Centaurs, but when you've got a couple of backs in Lund and Buren, and any play can go the distance, why risk putting it in the air too often? Although Okamoto had that one series that they had marched back not too long ago where they put a couple in the air and were fairly successful with it. Run try by the Crusaders, stuffed for no gain, possibly a loss. Addison Hull was met by a host of Centaurs.
Yeah, Aaron Borg led the way on that one. There were a couple other Centaurs as well. But Adam Borg came off the edge and was able to make the tackle on the backfield. Harley Kirsch back in the game. I think we were right in assuming that they're going by quarters in the second half.
Their starter, Trey Reynolds, injured a while back, missed last week's game and did not start here, hoping to be ready for their Metro opener next week against Bainbridge Island. But today it is Blake Mamone and Harley Kirsch both splitting time in this one. Kirsch with the handoff to Hull, and Hull, for the second time in a row, thrown back. And again, I think it was Aaron Borg with the stop.
Yeah, Aaron Borg making another play. That one was just him and Hull. And Hull just doesn't have a lot of, what do they call it, lead in the pencil to really make a play when you're head up on a guy.
Third down and long, as they've lost 3 yards cumulatively on the last two carries. And Harley Kirsch, who got the start in this one, led the team to victory last week in his first start. Just a freshman. He had 2 touchdown throws for 162 yards, plus ran 98 yards and another score in their win over their neighbor Eastlake last week. He got the start in this one, got them going on the right foot, and he's traded time with Blake Mamone the rest of the way. Receiver either side, they'll give, and this time not to Hull, or is it Hull? I believe Colin Boyd. Nope, it is Hull on the carry. And he's drugged down after minimal gain. So it'll be 4th and 13 to go. And this might be an opportunity for perhaps a punt from the Crusaders, something we haven't seen much of. But it looks like they're going to try to go for it. And the Centaurs getting caught in between different units.
They had to call timeout.
Yeah, we saw that over on the other side as the Centaurs couldn't decide where we're going to have punt return, where we're going to have defense. They don't have a lot of guys anyway, so they're not shuffling too many guys, but special teams might be that one area that they're trying to give someone a 1 or 2 play rest.
Yeah, and that's where you see is some of the younger guys from Centennial be able to get in and be able to be playmakers.
But special teams efforts, and that may be where Eastside Catholic, if they're going to have some grades coming out of this one, the special teams coverages may be the part that they will not have an A or a B or maybe even a C in, already giving up 2 return scores in this game to really the 2 top players for Centennial, Justin Buren and Nathan Lund. So we take time out here, an opportunity to remind you that PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from across the country. PlayOnSports.com, high school sports lives here. 6:49 to go, Eastside Catholic with the football as well as the advantage. 56-25 over the neighbors from the north. The Centennial Centaurs from Coquitlam, British Columbia, about 147 miles away. Here's the punt, and it's from Harley Kirsch, and another quick kick that's going to be down inside the 10. You love that play, don't you?
Yeah, I really do.
And you can see why.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm surprised that Centennial didn't drop at least one guy back to try and make a play on that. But honestly, that was a perfect punt by Kirsch and might not even been able to been recovered by Centennial anyway because it was so perfectly placed.
56-25, the Centaurs trying to do a little work on that scoreboard there. They'll have the long field to go. 95 yards away from pay dirt, but a guy like Nathan Lund can make that up in a hurry. We'll see if they opt to keep the ball on the ground. They've had great success from time to time with that run as Eastside Catholic trying to find the right kind of guys that can shut down the speed burners. Here's a pass from Okamoto. Airs this one out, looking for Lund, who's got it on the sideline, and he's out of bounds after picking up the first down. He's got it out to the 36. What a play. That was just an Okamoto lob, and a Nathan Lund run under it and beat the defender.
Yeah,
he almost could have fair caught that one.
Yeah, he did. He threw that. I actually lost it. I've got the binoculars going here, and I actually lost it. I couldn't find it, and then looked down and saw that he was able to make the play.
So we've seen Nathan Lund show what he can do running the ball. We've seen what he can do returning the ball, and we've seen what we can do catching the ball here. So showing the scouts from Portland State University the multiple tools that he has, including kicking an extra point as well. Handoff inside. This is Buren, who's going to get shoved ahead for a first down, but the ball is loose, as you said. We'll see, and it is Eastside Catholic football.
It was a good run by Buren, but unfortunately he had it stripped from behind. I didn't see who got the strip, but it was a nice play from behind because that was the only play he had, and Buren wasn't able to keep the ball in his possession.
You know, one thing that we haven't seen a lot of in this one is turnovers.
Yeah,
and you know
that is the first one that I'm aware of.
I think that is the first turnover that we've seen in the contest, and for a team like Centennial that's got 22 guys that are suited up and had the long bus trip here, and they've got a lot of these guys playing both ways. You talk about the fundamentals, and hanging on the football is key, penalties key as well, but to go nearly 4 quarters of this one without a turnover, that's pretty amazing in high school athletics.
Yeah, definitely, and especially early in the season like this. This is only their second game, and they probably don't do a lot of live hitting just because of the lack of numbers for them.
So Eastside Catholic, off of the turnover here, will have it at the 46, but they may have taken too much time as we've got a penalty flag before the snap of the ball. In fact, before I think even Harley Kirsch could get ready for the snap.
And this is something we've seen from Eastside Catholic a few times tonight. That's something that Coach Thielbar and his coaches are going to need to work on to make sure they're not giving up yardage because they can't even come out from a dead ball.
It's a matter of transitioning those teams out there and get the offense out there quick and have a play call. Here's the handoff. This is Aaron Brockmate this time. And he'll get a couple. 5:20 to go.
Very impressed by this Brockmate kid. He runs with authority, and at 200 pounds and only being a sophomore, he's got the ability to grow up into a 220-pound back by the time he's a senior.
And that's part of what Jeremy Thielbar, the head coach of the Crusaders, is trying to do, is build that depth, which is critical, and then also build a legacy as you get guys groomed to take over for the seniors as they move on. Brockmate again with the carry into the clear. One man to beat. Down the sideline. Can he get another one? He hurdles one and is out of bounds. Great run by Brockmate. He's already got 2 scores in this game and was just one tackler away from maybe getting his third.
Yeah, really good run off the left side there. Gave a stiff arm to one of the linebackers. Then outran the cornerback to the edge and got down the sidelines before the safety was able to come over because he had an angle on him.
So it'll be 1st and goal. Nope, it'll actually be 1st and 10 from the 11. So room for another first down in there. We've got one receiver split way to the bottom here, but the handoff goes to Brockmate again. He gets around one defender, picks up a few, and then is brought down. Isaiah Stewart among the Centaurs in the mix there, along with Jordan Kennedy.
I was wondering why they blew the ball dead, but now we can see why. It looks like there was a penalty flag down.
I will say that one of the things that they're trying to do with the drawing attention to prostate cancer with the blue flags, they are a little harder to see than those yellow flags out there,
harder.
aren't they?
Yeah, they're much harder.
But you know what? Anything for a good cause, and the officials in all the high school football games using the blue flags to help bring awareness to prostate cancer.
This is actually the first time I remember seeing the blue flags for that. Did they have that last year?
You know, I
can't
I'm
remember if
not
they had
sure,
that
but
last year
you know, I hope it's something that they do continue from here on out.
You know, we talked a little earlier in the broadcast about people affected by cancer and things like that. My family actually, I lost my mother to leukemia, so it's something that's near and dear to my heart. It's something my family gives to, is the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and it's definitely something that is a worthwhile cause.
Agreed. 4:40 to go. Here's the handoff. Brockmate going to be dropped for a loss as the Centaurs defense. You know, we talk about it, and I don't think it can be underscored enough. The competitive fire in that defensive group for the Centaurs. I mean, in a game like this on the road, after all that travel, after nearly 4 quarters of play, they are feisty.
They are, and these guys are going to be sore. They're going to be in the they're going to be in the ice baths here when they get home, get some treatment, things like that. But you have to be proud of the way they've fought. They've scored 25 points on a team that last year they didn't score a point on. They lost 35-0. So this is something that there's a lot of positive things you can take away, even though you're losing the game by 31 points.
Under 4 minutes to go. 2nd down and 21. Loose ball. Centaurs on it. And that is Jordan Kennedy picking up the bobbled snap. And one good turnover deserves another, because that's how the Crusaders got the ball on this drive, was the fumble by the Centaurs, and they get it back on the defensive effort and the defensive showing and the hustle from Jordan Kennedy.
And that's something that Coach Thielbar will pull his freshman quarterback aside and say, look, I know you're just trying to make a play, but when the ball is a bad snap, do not try and pick it up. Just fall on it, make sure we get the ball back, and we'll go from there.
Stay tuned. We invite you to stick around for a brief post-game show on the PlayOnSports.com post-game show. We'll identify our player of the game as well as wrap up all the action from this contest. That's coming up following the contest on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. The Centaurs taking their own time here, getting things set coming out of the huddle. We saw Eastside Catholic penalized for delay of game, not being able to get everybody out quickly and get a play run, and we'll see if the Centaurs use up too much time here We got a bit of a spread formation here with receivers spread wide to the side, a couple of wings, and one back. Little shuffling on the defense for Eastside Catholic. Here's the handoff to Lund. He's got an opening. He's got a blocker. He is going to go all the way. No one to beat. Touchdown, Centaurs.
Wow. Just like that. Just like that. And if you're Coach Thielbar, you'd say to your quarterback, now look, we know you're trying to make a play, but this is what happens when we don't keep the ball in our possession and we give the ball back to a dangerous playmaker like Nathan Lund. And once he got in the open field, was there any doubt he was going all the way? I think that was about a,
72 yards.
72-yarder, yeah.
72 yards on the, I hesitate to even call it a scamper. That was a flat-out sprint down the sideline for the score. Unbelievable. 56-31, and Lund, he doesn't even get a break. You get a 72-yard touchdown run, and now you got to come in and try for the point.
Well, he doesn't even come off the field.
I don't know. Does he know what the bench looks like?
Probably not.
Snap, the kick. This one is up, and this one is good. So Nathan Lund has converted his last two PAT tries, and we now got ourselves a 56-32 contest with 2:57 to go.
If you were his coaches, would you put him on the bench?
Oh, I think he's going to have to get injured or something or ill to find his way to the bench. And we talk about it. It's absolutely amazing. This guy's been going both ways. He's played on it every special team. He's a return guy. He's a running back. He's the kicker, and he still has that burst at the end of this game.
And now, in all fairness, Eastside Catholic is playing pretty much their entire backup crew, but still, he's making plays when they're available to him, and that's something you got to applaud.
Well, you have to think about this in the terms of maybe the talent levels that you see up in British Columbia, because they have less of a turnout for the sport. It's not as popular and hasn't been built up over generations as they are working to do, and I applaud everything that they're working to build this sport up in British Columbia as you continue to see the growth just from last year to this year. And as they continue to do that, you know that there's going to be more and more guys identified, like a Nathan Lund, like a Justin Buren with the skill sets to really compete. But as they can build the depth, my goodness, it's amazing how good these guys could be. Little pooch kick here, fielded by an up man, and he's going to call for the fair catch. That seems to be the trend right now. And with 2:57 to go, we've got a struggle here to try and identify some players of the game, because with all this scoring, we've got a ton of guys. I'll tell you what, in a losing effort, Nathan Lund might be one of those guys to consider, but we've got a whole host of Crusaders that have put up multiple scores as well.
My guess is, because I've been keeping track of some of the stats. I didn't really keep track of a lot of the Centaur stats, but my guess is he's probably somewhere around 200 yards rushing. He's had a kickoff return for a touchdown, and he's almost made a couple plays on defense too. So if we were giving it out to the player of the game with the best stats, it would be him. But as far as a team that's winning, I think you could go with Blake Mamone. He's rushed for a touchdown. He's thrown for a touchdown. He's guided this team to a lot of scores. Henry Jarvis had a great game.
Couple touchdown
runs. Was in there running very hard. And then Aaron Brockmate, and what he can do, what he showed, and his abilities. And he had a couple touchdown runs as well.
Jordan Kennedy on the stop a moment ago on the loss on the running play for Eastside Catholic. 2 minutes to go in this one, and they're taking their time with the clock, working it down as much as they can. Another bobbled snap, and this time Kirsch just falling on it. So taking advantage of that learning opportunity a moment ago, just falls on it this time. But I wonder if he's not getting the snap that he needs.
No, that one was pretty low, right at his feet, and that's something that's definitely a risk when you go into the shotgun like that. You got to get a good snap from the center, and he's working with a new center in there, not his typical center. So that's something that that's gonna need to be cleaned up as well. But maybe not something you're totally worried about since it's the backup center.
Aaron Brockmate in there as the running back with Maimone, the quarterback, working the clock down as much as possible with 1:10 now left to go. They're trying to limit the amount of snaps remaining in this one and just put it to bed. Here's the snap finally, and the give to Brockmate. Finds a seam. He's already busted a couple. He breaks out of one tackle, but not another one. He's got enough, I think. Nope, he's going to be a couple yards short of the first down on third and, or rather second and really long. 48 seconds left to go in this one. It'll be fourth down and about 2 after the great gain by Brockmate.
I think we might see another quick kick here, but this one might be a one where they, since there's only a few minutes or a few seconds left, actually about 30 seconds left, maybe they snap it, try to run a right up the middle and see if they can get some power going.
Well, it's only 2 yards to go. The first down here obviously seals the deal. They wouldn't have to give it back to the Centaurs. They will work it on the give to Brockmate. He finds the first down and the midfield stripe, and with 8 seconds left to go, that's going to be your ball game, folks. The Eastside Catholic Crusaders able to handle the Centaurs of Centennial. As you hear the buzzer, the final score 56-32. And here on the brief PlayOnSports.com postgame show, we have a host of scores to run down. I don't think we're going to get all the way into it, but we can certainly talk about the efforts of the quarterbacks of Eastside Catholic in Harley Kirsch and Blake Mamone. They both ran effectively the offense for the Crusaders.
Yeah, they did, and both showed almost the same ability too, because both got some runs in there. Showed a little bit of athleticism, but also showed good form and throwing the ball and making good decisions. I'm going to have to go with Blake Mamone as the player of the game, just because what he was able to do and be a real threat down the field. He should have had another touchdown pass that was dropped by the wide receiver. He rushed for a touchdown. He threw a touchdown. I think he would have to be your player of the game tonight if I was choosing.
And, quick runner-ups would be Aaron Brockmate. He had a couple of touchdown runs, and as well as Mr. Jarvis, Henry Jarvis, with a couple of touchdown runs as well. So let's do this. We'll call him our United States player of the game. How about for a Canadian player of the game?
I don't think there's any question. It's Nathan Lund. I mean, the only other player that you could really give it to is Justin Buren, who also had a couple nice plays. But Nathan Lund is just so explosive. Had easily 200 yards rushing. Had another 100 and so, returning kickoffs and things like that. Also caught a couple passes. I don't see how you could give it to anybody but him.
Nathan Lund with 3 scores in the second half, a 2-yard run, an 80-yard kickoff return, and a 72-yard touchdown run. I have to concur. Both great choices for our respective players of the game in this one. The road ahead for both these teams, well, Eastside Catholic, I think, accomplished what they wanted to do. This was their final tune-up before they enter into Metro Mountain League play against Bainbridge Island next week. It'll be the second of 4 consecutive home games for them, but certainly they start to work into games that really, truly matter for them. And so this, an opportunity to test the depth, also rest up a few guys, but certainly collect another victory in an international friendly.
Yeah, and these kind of events and games for a team like Centennial are perfect, not because they get beat. You don't want your players to get depressed or down because they got beat by such a wide margin. But what they're able to do is they're able to get snaps against a team that's better than them, more athletic, and they can see, okay, this is where we want to be. This is where we are now. This is the gap. What do we have to do to get there? And it's a good way for people like Nathan Lund and Buren to really showcase their talents against top caliber teams.
And for Centennial, they head back home. This is just their second game of the year. They go back up north and have another tune-up against a team by the name of Mission before they get into league play. But no doubt, I think this is a tremendous opportunity and a trip well worth it for the program for Centennial to play against a team like Eastside Catholic, learn what it's like, learn about the camaraderie, but also to get good looks for his players that are being recruited by some of the schools down here so that they can continue their education as well as their athletic prowess.
Yeah, and we saw the Portland State coaches here. I know there were probably a couple other small schools that were in town to see this game, so they don't have to go up to Canada up north of the border to see these kids play. So it is a great time, and it's a great chance for Eastside Catholic to get some some reps in for some of their younger guys. Also showcase some of their guys who don't have offers yet, like Markel Sanders and Christian Shigley. They're both already going to colleges and scholarships. So it's a chance for kids like Peter Kimball and Harley Kirsch to get on the map for people, and Aaron Brockmate, to really showcase their talents and what we can do. Hey, keep an eye on us because we're 3 years away from being able to be recruited.
Well, that's going to wrap it up from Charlie Acosta Field, where the Eastside Catholic Crusaders defeat the Centaurs of Centennial Secondary School from Coquitlam, British Columbia. We'd like to thank you for joining us here on PlayOnSports.com's coverage of Friday Night Football from Sammamish, Washington. Be sure to check PlayOnSports.com for information and links to all of our upcoming broadcasts. The Centaurs of Centennial, British Columbia come south, but it's the hometown Crusaders of Eastside Catholic with the victory 56-32. For our producer Nathaniel Jackson, our videographer Martin Stowe, and my partner Scott Eklund, I'm Alex Webster saying so long, and we hope you'll join us on Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com next week, your destination for high school sports. Good night, everybody.